You found TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. In just a few minutes, we'll be right with you with another award-winning, action-packed edition of your Tony Basilio Show. You found Radio Free Tennessee. Your Tony Basilio Show will begin momentarily. Keep it locked in right here at TonyBasilio.com and on your Tony Basilio app. And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word. Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
I say you get pumped. I say right now, I want to say. It's time to get fired up, focused, and prepared because Jennifer Morris presents a great John Adams on the one, the only. It is your chill show. And you know what we are? We're pumped. We're pumped. Absolutely pump. Stacked, packed, jacked, and pump. Live with you on a John Adams Tuesday. Chris Lee, Southeast 16, joins. And we'll talk about the glut, and it is a glut. A glut. Not a glutton for punishment, but just a glut of teams. That is the Southeastern Conference. And I just don't know what to make of it all. I mean, I know that's a constant refrain, and we keep saying that to each other, and we keep going over, and we keep doing our thing, but it's incredible. What's up, Drew? It's incredible. Oh, I got to hit I'm sorry, sweetie. I hit the mute button. Go ahead, bring it in. Or I'm sorry. Woo! When are we going to teach me? I mean, John, how long have I been at this now? I've been away like a month, and every day she's got to tell me to hit the mute button, John. Does that surprise you?
Not at all, Tony. You're not a detail-oriented person. And that's
John,
okay.
let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you something.
I was hoping you would.
I got bedhead over here. Next week, John, when I go away, and I'm at Ocean City, New Jersey, okay? You think I ought to turn Tuesday's show over to you and just take a break, go to the beach with the family, and let you have your annual Festivus at my behalf? Because generally, that is something that happens. That's become a tradition here, like a 4 or 5 year tradition, where John turns the show into what do you do, John? Because people tell me, they're like, man, what did you do to John? Last year, you were brutal, apparently, toward me. Like, brutal.
As shocking as this might sound, I think you're overstating that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if that, how well that works. If people want to hear a lot of compliments, I think the major thing, it's your show and it's all about you, even when you weren't here. And I think that's what's important.
So we're pumped and we're fired up, and we got a lot to talk about today. And Chris Lee is going to join us a Hot Take Tuesday. We're going to go through some hot takes. John's been briefed on the subject matter at hand. John, do you feel prepared to discuss the upcoming SEC season? Because the closer it gets, the more confused I'm getting about how I feel about this upcoming year. I just don't know how to feel about it at all in terms of what's going to happen. But I do know this, and it's one of my hot takes today. NIL era college football it makes it a better sport. It's a lot more compelling of a product, NIL era. And that's saying something, because I've always loved college football. NIL era, and the SEC this year speaks to this, John. NIL era college football is a compelling sport because it's a lot more wide open, and even the haves have to earn it now.
I think if you would ask the average fan whether they like the NIL era, the transfer portal era, they will say not at all, and they're very anti. However, I think they would agree with you that it's more interesting, it's more newsworthy, and in a way more entertaining. It's just like in baseball or pro sports. Well, it is pro sports. With free agency, with trades, all of that creates interest. And as you said, it opens things up. If you've got the money, you can play. If you've got the right coach and you can bring in guys from the transfer portal and do a really good job evaluating, it's not just about the money. It has a lot to do with your ability to organize, pinpoint talent, pinpoint people that fit your system, and bring them in. And so you have a chance to get better right away. Watching the SEC media days last week, uh, always these coaches put their best foot forward there. They can make a compelling case that almost every program will be competent. Of course, we know better, but I do think what came across in those meetings is what we already knew. It's a very balanced league right now, and I think that's what you're addressing when you're talking about your confusion. There are so many teams that are bunched together. I put Texas and Georgia above everybody.
Yeah.
In terms of maybe the fewest shortcomings, fewest question marks. But then everybody else, there's a wide range of teams in there, uh, three through 8. And then there are teams below that, like Auburn and maybe Florida, if John Summerall is the real deal as a coach, and perhaps Missouri. I have a hard time evaluating Missouri. I mean, you really can look at the season and say there are maybe 9 or 10 playoff teams, competitive teams that can contend for the playoffs. A lot of ifs involved, but if everything went right. So that lends itself. It's really hard to separate. People were complaining about Tennessee being ranked 8th in the SEC. Well, they finished 8th last year. And I think that's about where they were ranked. So that's not surprising. But being ranked 8th is not like it used to be when you had a 12-team league and you said somebody was the 8th best team in the SEC. They were going to have a losing season. They probably wouldn't make a bowl. It's different now.
Crave Dog says what really sucks about the whole deal is that even if there were guidelines, people would still cheat to get players like the good old days. I mean, people are cheating now. You and I were talking off the air, John, and we're going to do Hot Take Tuesday. And I don't want to steal one of your hot takes.
Please don't.
But this is the reality. If you wait till November or December to start recruiting players, you're done. You better start recruiting players, John. Give me one of your hot takes. Go ahead, because you're going to talk about it later anyway.
Well,
it ties into this.
Well, I'll just go ahead and say that.
Yeah,
I think
it ties into
it. You look at what's. I did a column the other. I guess it was for yesterday. About Tennessee has the potential for a really dynamic offense next year. When you look at the depth chart, you look at just adding David Gabriel George. You look at all that, and you can see where it could be very dynamic offensively. But Tennessee could lose a lot defensively. So right now is when you need to be looking in the transfer portal and looking at how you're going to fill those needs. If you wait till December, when the transfer portal opens a month later, you're playing catch up and you're way behind. You need to be identifying guys that you think would help. You know, you have a good idea. You don't know for sure, but you have a good idea who you will be losing. So how will you replace those guys? That's kind of where you can win and lose a lot of games right there.
Matt Dixon, I bring you in against a backdrop that the closer we get to the season, the more confused I get about the jumbled mess this season really is. And I didn't believe this back in January. You said this back in January. I'm up to say that you're on the right picture, right track. Tennessee feels like they're one of the teams coming into the season that can feel like they've got a shot to make the playoffs this year, because after the top two teams, it's kind of a glut of teams with a bunch of question marks.
Yeah, and I would even add Texas has as many question marks as those other teams. They just have a lot of talent, but besides Georgia, who I think has the highest floor of any team in the league by a wide margin, they might not have the upside that some of the other teams do. like in terms of playoff potential, but just making the playoffs, I think they're kind of a sure thing. But even Texas has a lot of uncertainty. And, John mentioned, picked 8th in the league. I mean, if you're in the top half of the league, then you're easily a playoff contender. And that's all that matters now is finding a way to sneak into the playoffs, which is kind of going 10-2. So yeah, Tennessee is certainly a team that enters the season with those aspirations. And I think that Texas game is kind of the doorway game for your season for that reason.
Really interesting. Tennessee season, and we'll get to this, but the SEC as a whole, and we're going to bring in Chris Lee, who's really excellent. His channel's really great over on YouTube. You should, if you haven't subscribed, you should. He has us on from time to time, but John, at the end of it all, there's a lot more question marks with all these teams, even the very good teams at the top of the league. Like the whole Texas thing, you tell me Texas loses to Ohio State and Arch Manning doesn't play well, John, and I'll tell you Texas could be in trouble when they come in here in the end of September. Could happen.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying Texas is a sure thing. I think it has the most talent in the league. Another negative for Texas, though, is its schedule. It has a really challenging schedule. And and Matt pointed out about Georgia maybe having the highest floor. I think that's pretty accurate because I think Georgia schedule is more accommodating. And I, it has some question. I have some question marks about Georgia, about its available playmakers at wide receiver, the passing game. That would concern me about Georgia. But overall, and see, I look at teams kind of below in the second half of the league, even in the second half of the league. When I look at Florida, if its quarterback comes through, you could say the same thing about Tennessee. Florida has a good offensive supporting cast, some good receivers, a really good running back. In Auburn, I've thought for the last few years, Auburn is its record hasn't been indicative of its talent. It's really underachieved under its last two coaches. I look at Auburn now, and I don't know, but I know it's going to be much improved at quarterback. Can't help but be with Byron Brown, and I think Alex Golesh will be a step up over their previous coaches, just based on how poor what a poor job they've done. So I think Auburn last year lost 6 of 7 of its 7 losses. 6 of them were one-score games, and I think the other loss was by 10 points. Auburn is not that far away. Auburn will be a tough game for Tennessee.
Those of you watching on video will know. Over at Tony Basilio's show, will know that I've got my Adidas wear on today. I've had it on. I got this hat at TJ Maxx a few weeks back, and I am literally, as they say in the trade, brand loyal. I want you to know that I paid $9.99 for this hat at TJ Maxx. I'm doing my thing to support.
Yeah, looks every bit of that.
What's that mean?
Figured it out. If you
look
back
on the other side, it's keeping me from getting rays on my face. I'll tell you that, and my neck.
That's great.
Come back on the other side. Chris Lee joins on your high noon hotline. We'll want to get in, and then later on, as many people as possible, we're going to do a Hot Take Tuesday. Today we have a Tennessee basketball report presented by the great Gary Stern, Mortgage Investors. John today is presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. She's of Keller Williams, sponsor of John's Tuesday segment. Take a brief time out, and we come back with more. We're on the other side, and we do it right after this.
Life never stops.
Between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
The High Noon line of hard seltzers is always a winner and always next level. High Noon vodka seltzers come in 14 flavors with real vodka and real fruit juice. Only 100 calories with no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. Personally, I'm partial black cherry and pineapple. 14 flavors. That's as many bad takes as I've got in a week. In the mood for a kick? Try High Noon vodka iced tea in 6 refreshing flavors, including peach and lemon, green tea, and half and half. Feeling adventurous? Check out High Noon tequila seltzer in 6 refreshing flavors, including my favorite, blood orange. High Noon real vodka, real fruit juice. Live like the sun is always out. Brought to you by High Noon Spirits Company. Must be 21 and over to enjoy responsibly.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires. Just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Baseball fans, it's time to step up to the plate. Look your best. Get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall has the best selection. Top brands for you to choose from this season. Look, it's nice and warm outside. So get into any of their 6 air-conditioned East Tennessee locations. Shop online, download the app, grab your Tennessee baseball jersey, your hat, your decal, maybe a t-shirt, and they have so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 you spend. Go Vols and shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Touch them all with Alumni Hall. When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio Show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
With Gary Sturm. He's with Mortgage Investors Group, making our community a better place every day. Gary, you've been at it 32 years, man.
Yes, Tony, I've been at Mortgage Investors Group for 32 years. We've known each other since, back in the 80s, right?
And we've gotten to know each other recently as our family has gotten involved with another mortgage. Through that whole process, you were a prince, just like Jeker. When he called you at 3 o'clock in the morning after a Tennessee loss, you've been giving your phone number out for a couple decades. And why is that, Gary?
This is the biggest financial decision you're ever going to make. You don't want to trust somebody online, some 800 number. You want to call somebody like myself that's going to give you my number, and you can call me anytime. I'm there to help you. I'm there to help you and your family, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your trust in me. You can call me anytime. You can be like Jeker and call me at 2 in the morning and complain about the Vols just like he did. I'd rather you call me about a mortgage, but that's okay. If you want to cry about the Vols, we can do that too. I'm a Vol at heart. You know that. And if you want to come in and meet with me face to face, I'm here. If you want to do it online, I'm here. That's fine. If you're curious if you can qualify to buy a house, people know the housing market's tough. That's what I'm here for. There's no obligation. You can call me anytime. I get you pre-qualified. Or maybe you've got a mortgage and you're thinking about refinancing. Maybe you want to shorten the term. Maybe you want to go to a 15-year. Who knows? But again, that's what I'm here for. It's what I've been here for 32 years. My number is 865-660-2648. It's 865-660-2648.
Gary Storm at Mortgage Investors Group, going to take great care of you.
Got a plumbing or HVAC problem at home? Whether it's an AC that won't cool, a furnace acting up, a clogged drain, or a water heater problem, Pipe Wrench Home Services is ready to help. Right now, get 15% off any HVAC or plumbing repair when you schedule service with Pipe Wrench Home Services. Our licensed technicians are equipped to diagnose the issue, explain your options, and get the repair done right the first time. Don't let a small problem turn into a major headache. That strange noise from your air conditioner, the water heater that's not keeping up, or the drain that keeps backing up won't fix itself. The longer you wait, the bigger the problem can become. At Pipe Wrench Home Services, we make repairs simple with friendly technicians and fast, reliable service that you can count on. We'll arrive ready to identify the problem and get your home back to normal as quickly as possible. Take advantage of 15% off any HVAC or plumbing repair and schedule your appointment today at pipewrench.com. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free. Restrictions may apply. Eligible for repairs up to $5,000. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
My name's Basilio. My headphone was laying on the ground there. I mean, what can I say? I'm prepared, but I am interacting with people over on the YouTube. We got like 150 folks in our room already, and I don't know what to say other than I'm a little country and a little bit rock and roll. Now joining us on our high noon hotline, ladies and gentlemen, you bow thy head when you say thy name. Because, well, we visit now with a guy from Southeastern 16, the great Chris Lee, who really has a great site, really has it going. And Chris Lee, I bring you in, and I'm going to ask you a question here, Chris, as we get closer to the season. You're either in one of two camps. The SEC season is coming into vision and view for you, and you get more of a sense of what the league's going to be about this year the closer we get, or the closer we get, the more you think about it, the more confusing this league feels a month out from the start of the season. Where are you, Chris Lee, as I welcome you in?
I'll probably butcher the saying. And first of all, thank you for having me. It's always enjoyable. What is it the saying? I think the more you learn, the less you realize you know. And look, I think obviously the more you dig into teams, the more some things become obvious. But it's also kind of become obvious to me, and I've said this for years, it's becoming more like the NFL, right? Where on a particular Saturday, a particular Sunday, a bad Jaguars team could beat a Patriots team in the heyday of Tom Brady. Again, I think that the game that should have gotten everybody's attention in so many ways was Vanderbilt beating Alabama a couple of years ago, because I think that started to illustrate it. But my point is, I think things do become clear, and you do have opinions of teams based on things that you learn and maybe things that people overlook the more you dive in. But at the same time, the margins are so small. It is like the NFL, where on any given week, like if you see a 10-point spread, that's gargantuan in the NFL. No, we're not quite there in college football, but we're getting closer than we've ever been. And I think that's why I say the more clarity you feel like you get, the margins kind of eat it that away, because on certain Saturdays, the uncertainty of the outcome is greater than I've ever seen it.
It's wild. I mean, the closer we get, and Matt Dixon's in here, John Adams, Brian Hartman, the more you think you know about the league, and you're a numbers guy, okay? The problem with the numbers people right now is we don't have any data. We get a bunch of transfers on these rosters, and we don't know how they're going to play together. We know Texas A&M is a totally rebuilt offensive line. We know Texas is trying to put together their offensive line on the fly. We know LSU has 63 new players. We know Tennessee and Vanderbilt are going to throw two true freshmen on the field probably at quarterback. There are a lot more unanswered questions. You as a numbers guy, how do you handle the summer against that backdrop?
Well, I'll do what I'm doing right now. I look at a lot of numbers and computer stuff and hope that it's, unbiased. But I think, the wisdom of the crowds, sometimes that's helpful. Sometimes it does get us in a good place. But sometimes it also gets to be a little circular. Like, let's just say, for instance, and I don't think this, that I thought Vanderbilt was the fourth best team in the league. If I put that out there, it's not only going to be way out of step of everybody else, but if that doesn't come true, that's a thing that gets retweeted and everything, when it becomes clear in October or November that that's not happening, and you get to kind of become a caricature. I think that's the danger in it too. I think you see, there's a lot of data out there. We all use it the same way, but we just don't know till they tee it up. Who's unhappy? Who's tearing apart your locker room? Who's got one foot out the door? What kid from Division II is better than anybody you? I mean, I'll give you an example. The best player in the league this year may be Trinidad Chambliss. If you made a ranking of the top 200 transfers in the conference last year preseason, I'm guessing he wouldn't have been on anybody's list. Yeah. There's a lot of things we know and we think we know, but there's also an element that once you play the games, you realize you didn't know it all. And maybe some of the teams, particularly Ole Miss, didn't know it all. So that's a long and kind of winding answer. But I think that's the world we live in. You try to lean on some things that might lend some certainty, but you got to be open to the fact that after you watch a few games, you may need to throw everything that you thought out the window.
John Adams, you are on Chris Lee's Southeastern 16. Check out his YouTube channel, Their Next Level.
Yeah, Chris, it's really hard. It's harder than ever to sort through the SEC teams and think who's the winner, who's the loser. I thought you brought up that Vanderbilt-Alabama game a couple of years ago was really epic and really reflective of this era of college football. And then Kentucky beating that Ole Miss team in 24 was another one like that. We were talking before you came on, and I'm curious your take on this. You can make a case when you say you've got the top 8 teams in the league, the top half of the league, and say, well, those are really playoff contenders if things go a certain way. But there's some teams below them that I really have a hard time judging. 3 of them, Florida, Missouri, and Auburn. I was just curious what your take is on those 3 teams, because I don't feel good about how good those teams might be or how bad. I just don't know with those teams.
Yeah, those are 3 that I have a hard time with too. Look, Florida lost some really elite offensive linemen, I think, to the NFL. Mm-hmm. And I always use that as a kind of a starting place. When your offensive line situation is uncertain, that's a little bit of a, at least a yellow flag. That was the thing with Texas last year. Everybody was anointing Texas, but you looked at how many linemen they lost who'd been great players and what they were replacing them with. And although it was Texas talent, those guys hadn't played a ton of games together yet. And you saw Texas struggled early in the year before it gelled at the end of the year, and that team got much better. I think Florida is in a similar situation. You figure there's an upgrade in coaching. The skill position talent there, people are in love with the receiver and the running back room, but you don't know exactly who your quarterback's going to be. There's not a ton of experience there. And the line part, to me, I think I've got enough questions, and I'm not jumping in on Florida being a top-tier team yet. Could be wrong about that. Missouri, I think the Hardy injury, is certainly clouded the picture, although they've got a good backup, but they've also got a new quarterback. I think it'll be an upgrade over what they had before, but we haven't seen Austin Simmons for a full season. So that begs some questions, and I've seen opinions on their offensive line all over the place. I think Phil Steele had them the top offensive line in the league. I think Lindy's had them the 12th. I don't know how you reconcile that. If there was, somebody had a typo somewhere or what, but what to make of that, I don't know. Auburn to me is really intriguing because I think, and I'll go back to Vanderbilt 2 years ago. You import a new system, new coordinator, new quarterback, and some of his surrounding players, except I think the South Florida guys were better than the guys Vanderbilt brought in. And you saw how immediately that transformed that outlook. The defense was good last year. It's got a lot of its better players back. and it has been good for years. And I think Byron Brown, he's a guy that rushed for over 1,000 yards and is thrown for a ton. Those guys tend to be hard to stop, and he's got skill guys around him. So I think Auburn's a team that, like, if you said, hey, Chris, give me a team that could overachieve its predicted place in the standings, and I think the media picked them, 11th or 12th?
Yeah, I thought that was
that
was really low on Auburn. I thought that was probably the worst pick in those composite rankings.
Yeah, but John, they're also really close. There's not a lot separating these teams, the games.
Yep.
I mean, it just takes 1 or 2 games to go the wrong way or the right way, and you're moving way up or way down. So I understand it, but if you said, hey, give me a team that's going to be off, 4 or 5 spots or more from where it's picked, I would say Auburn might be the first team I'd circle.
By the way, Matt Disk can jump in here, because the truth is, I mean, what separates Tennessee and Auburn and, say, one of the 5 teams that people think are playoff contenders in the league may not be as great as we think. But then again, I mean, Auburn's basically bringing their South Florida offense with them. Who knows how it plays in the league? Again, I'm back to this. We know nothing right now, which is kind of fun, Matt.
Yeah, there's just so much uncertainty and every team's got question marks, and Vanderbilt's a great example of that. And so much of what they did the past couple of years was Diego Pavia driven. So, Chris, what do you know about this Vanderbilt team this upcoming season? Like, what are the kind of known things that Clark Lee's team's going to be this year?
I think the roster, I can't even remember the number now, 105 or whatever, is better than I think it's ever been. You've got guys on the back half of that, I think, that can play. I mean, you used to go to camps and watch them, and there are 2 dozen guys out there that are just bodies that have no business on that field. Even the walk-ons now, I don't know how much they're going to contribute, but they make it a tougher practice environment. I think defensively they're better. I think they've got 10 to 12 defensive linemen who could give them some quality snaps in games. That's something they have a hard time getting. I think on the back end, they haven't had a lot of takeaways the last few years. I know that's probably the thing that as much as anything kept them out of the playoffs last year, the lack of takeaways and the lack of stops. I think between the improved depth up front and the improved back end, I think they're deeper at corner than they've been. And they got a safety from Clemson named Ricardo Jones, who led the league in the ACC in picks last year with 6, and he had a few in spring practice too. I think he's going to help them tremendously. So I think defensively they'll be better. And honestly, that's what kept them out of the playoffs last year. I don't think it was the committee as much as the defense just couldn't get stops when it needed to. Now, offensively, I think they got a lot of talent. I think Jared Curtis is the best player I've ever seen in the Vanderbilt uniform, bar none. I mean, and I don't like to really go into camp hyping kids because it's never almost what it's been hyped up to be. I don't think I ever saw a single practice, and we get to watch all of them. I didn't get to go to all of them, but I probably saw 10 where I came away watching Jared Curtis having going, he's not what he was advertised. He was everything he was advertised and probably more. How does that translate this fall against other teams? We'll see. I think their big issue is going to be they lost Eli Stowers and Trey Richardson, who were their best 2 targets. Richardson was the speed guy that they really haven't replaced, and Stowers was the best tight end in the country. Now, they've got good players behind them. They've got depth in their tight end room, probably more than they had a year ago, but none of those guys are Stowers. And they have some good receivers. I think Cole Adams from Alabama is going to help them out a lot in the slot. But none of those guys, I think, are a Richardson with his take the top off the defense speed. And look at his last 4 games. He tore it up then, and he was a hot commodity in the portal for a reason. And I think if they can get replacements out of their tight end receivers room to narrow the gap, then I think they got a chance to be pretty good. Maybe not great, but pretty good. And I think the offensive line is better than it was a year ago. And I'll say this, it was more cohesive in the spring than last year's group was in the fall, which I think is a good sign.
It's unbelievable, Andy, as we talk about this upcoming season. And, the thing about the year is the and again, we can think we know, and it's one of the great things. As Chris Lee joins Southeast 16, we talk about the upcoming year. When you talk about that Curtis kid like that, it's funny you mention that, because I was talking with somebody from a Tennessee perspective yesterday, and they were like, hey, I don't want to get out ahead of myself here, but I kind of feel like this freshman quarterback we have is different. Now, look, I heard that stuff about Nico. I heard the stuff about Garantano back in the day. I'm not going to believe any of that till I see it. You are telling me you've seen the Curtis kid in practice. Things are a little more open at Vanderbilt than they are in Knoxville. John, you think Knoxville media people can say they saw 10 to 12 practices of our true freshman, and this is what he looks like, as declaratively as Chris Lee just did? Can that happen here, John?
Not at all, and it can happen in a lot of places around the SEC. That's a rare exception in SEC football. When Chris says, I saw those dozen or so practices, that's unheard of around the league now.
And I'm sitting there going, so does he just leave his practices open? Is that what you're telling me, Chris?
Well, you've got to be credentialed media, and their list of people or that are credentialed media is, probably 1/20th the size of what that is in Knoxville, maybe 1/10. And so there's not a lot of us, but yeah, I mean, it's nobody else in the league does that, I don't think. I mean, you might see a few snaps here and there, but we get to see pretty much everything in fall camp. They'll close it down a week out from the first game. But yeah, we get to see pretty much everything.
That is so unusual, Chris. It's
laudable.
Yeah, it's and what's interesting about it is really how much. What about video? Is there? Are you allowed to take video of practices? I wouldn't think so, but can you take video?
Yeah, I mean, you can take some video of drills, and I've got, I don't know, and I probably need to put them on YouTube on a montage. I've got probably 30 shots of Curtis throwing at different practices. You can do that. Now, when they cut you off on video, when they start getting into the real work and formations and things like that, and there are guidelines on what we can't report. They don't like us doing depth charts, and they don't like obviously anything with formations and things. But if I can write up a report saying, Jared Curtis hit, Cole Adams on a 50-yard throw, I can write that and not get my access pulled. Now, if I say, if I start adding details and this formation, that would be a different thing. But yeah, we get a pretty good amount of latitude with what we can do, and their restrictions, make sense. I don't have an issue with those kind of clamps on our freedom, because if those weren't there, we wouldn't get to see anything at all.
Is there anybody you would compare Jared Curtis to? I know he's just a true freshman
question,
but just
great question.
Of somebody else you've seen, just similar body type, throwing motion, arm strength, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and look, let me nuance the context here, because when I say the name, people are going to flip out. But he reminds me so much of Josh Allen, just in terms of style of play. Now, look, Josh Allen has played NFL defenses, and Jared Curtis has played his own team. But, and I say this, I happen to have a nephew who played at Wyoming with Josh Allen for a year. In fact, when they did the workouts and everything, he was one of his targets. He was all over NFL Network that day. And so I saw Josh play for you. I think Jared Curtis right now is a more well-rounded player and more polished than Allen was when he left Wyoming. Which, I think the question about him at that point was, the accuracy and things like that. Josh Allen was far from a polished player at that point. So I'll nuance it that way too. But he's a big kid. He can run. He was a running back in high school for a couple of years. And I think the thing to me, guys, there are, I saw him make a ton of throws, just, hitting a receiver 50 yards down the field in stride. You had the ability to do that because of the arm strength, but the touch on it was the thing that you just didn't know. He wasn't, he wasn't all over the yard with his throws. I think his accuracy was pretty impressive. And you're always looking for those throws that you need to make to be an elite guy, like at the NFL level. And I'll give you an example. It's when you've got that intermediate, 10 to 15 yard throw where you've got a guy that's going to the sidelines, you've got a safety behind him, you've got a corner in front of him, you've got a very narrow window where you've got to get the ball to. The timing's got to be there and the throw's got to be there. And if you're off by 1/10 of a second or a couple of feet, that throw's incomplete or picked or whatever. And I saw him make one to one sideline on one play in a practice. This is probably, I don't know, half, 2/3 of the way through spring drills. And then I saw him about 3 snaps later make the same throw to the other side of the field where the window to throw the ball, again, was just a few feet and it had to be there right on time. And he made him look effortless in both of those. And look, again, I don't know what's going to happen when he sees other teams and things he's not used to. And teams can force him maybe out of his comfort level. But I saw the ability to make the kind of throws that gets you big NFL contracts. And I'm very interested to see how that plays out.
Well, I'll tell you this, Sean, and I'm back to this. College football in the NIL era is much more compelling than it was 5 years ago. And let me tell you this. There's no way in the world, John, that kid's playing at Vanderbilt 5 years ago. That the Ingram guy and some of those record producers, and we started hearing the whispers when he was committed to Georgia, and I thought there's no way in the world that's true. And Billy was down there. Billy Derrick was telling me, hey, watch for this. Watch, this could happen. Watch for this. We started hearing the whispers. It was about a year ago. We started hearing the whispers. Don't think that thing's done. John, it's compelling. And people can say whatever they want to say about Chris Lee, and they're having fun with him in the comments for saying Josh Allen. And Chris understands when you say something like that, people are going to have fun with you. Whatever. He's just giving his opinion. And Chris is not a hyperbole guy. He's just not. Chris isn't prone to hyperbole the way some people are in present company. But, John, this is why the NIL era college football is much more compelling. Vanderbilt stole that kid away from Georgia in the 11th hour. Never happens back in the day.
Oh, no. I mean, it would have been laughable. If you'd have said that 5 years ago, you said, well, Vanderbilt will go head to head with Georgia for the number one quarterback in the country and prevail. It would be laughable. I think and I kind of put Chris on the spot with that question because anytime you care, Josh Allen's one of the most talented quarterbacks in NFL history.
Yes.
His physical ability is amazing. The way he can go from behind center and hurdle himself over a line at his size, the speed he has, the arm strength, all that stuff. So when you say, well, he reminds you of Josh Allen, Chris isn't saying, well, he'll be as good as Josh Allen. No, he's just saying who's a quarterback that comes to mind. And I think that's something people want to hear. We don't know how good he'll be. There's so many other things involved with quarterbacking. But, if somebody told me, hey, this guy looks a lot like Tim Tebow, I would think, wow, I want to watch him. Doesn't mean he'll be as good as Tim Tebow in college, but that gets me thinking. And so that's really good to hear. And as Chris pointed out, it's not as though he just saw this guy throw warming up or something. He's been to a number of practices. So there's some repetition there in making that assessment.
I know, Chris, he's not going to say that out of school. Man, go ahead, Chris.
Well, just for some context, when people want to know who do you compare him to, you're looking for a style. Like if you could put this guy in street clothes next to another guy and watch him from 100 yards away, and you can't look at the face, or like stylistically, that's who I think he comps a lot to. Body type, he's a bigger guy. I mean, again, he's almost 6'4", and he was a running back, growing up for a good bit of time. He's not fast, but it's more like of a Tebow-like running style where he will, he can run over people if he needs to. He's not Mike Vick. But I just feel, how is it going to play? I haven't made any predictions about it. I just don't know. It's like you can compare I'll use a pitcher, for example. You can compare a guy to Randy Johnson because he might be tall and lean and throw 100 miles an hour. But Randy Johnson was a guy that couldn't throw strikes for a long time. And it made him a AAA guy. And then when he figured it out, And then when he became elite in terms of his control, he became one of the best pitchers of all time. But there's a lot of guys that fit that mold that never get to that level for whatever reason. I don't warrant what he's going to be or what he's not going to be because I just don't know. And I just need to see him play other guys. But I will tell you, every practice I went to, the talent was loud, and I've yet to see that kid have a bad practice yet.
Well, wish we could say the same for G-Mac. Unfortunately, I don't know how many good practices that poor guy's had since he's been here. That's not good, John. By the way, we're going to do our hot takes in our next hour. One of mine that I wrote today over at TonyBasilio.com or tclub.team, however you want to get there, is that I'm selling Arch Manning this year. I'm selling the whole concept of Arch Manning. I'm selling the number one pick in the draft. I don't think he's accurate enough, man. I don't. And I saw a guy, by the way, and I looked it up. The numbers tell me that they were checking down and throwing the ball underneath last year. And if you go back and look at the last 5 games that everybody points to, he was a check down Charlie. He was throwing the ball underneath, well below the average yards per pass attempt in college football. I'm selling Arch Manning this year. In fact, I think Uncle Peyton will be taking his Texas jersey off in the second half of the Tennessee-Texas game. Chris Lee, do you have a thought?
Yeah, I've got questions there too. I mean, it did get much better at the end of the year. The postseason game, he was really good. He had some guys out. I don't know what to make of him. I mean, if I'm picking a quarterback right now in this league, I'm probably taking Trinidad Chambliss. But
yep,
that's going to be one of the big questions of college football season is what does it look like in Arch Manning year 2? Because you can make a case that that he was looking like more the dude that we thought he'd look like at the end of the season. And if that translates, then maybe he is what everyone said he was going to be.
Well, I think one of the strengths of Arch Manning, we saw it at the end of the year, and particularly in the bowl game, is his running ability. He might actually prove to be, in the right system, a better college quarterback than a pro quarterback because – yeah, I think people want to compare him to Peyton and Eli, and he doesn't play the position anything like they do. There's just no comparison with those guys. Doesn't mean he won't develop, but Tony makes a valid point. One thing in his favor, though, I think Texas has tremendous receivers.
Oh, yeah.
This year.
We're going to find out this year. Yeah, he's going to have – look, last year he had this thing. I don't have an offensive line. I don't have this. I don't have that. They don't say that for other guys. When other guys fail that have been sitting there for 3 or 4 years, they don't go, well, I mean, this guy looks like a freshman out there, but he's been in the program for 3 years. They explain it away for this guy. Why? Because he has his own PR firm. He's a Manning.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it is a different deal. He was not good last year. And at the end of the year, he threw the ball underneath. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can look up the yards per attempt. It is what it is.
Imagine this scenario. What if Arch Manning would have gone to Ole Miss? And last season was destined to be his coming out party, his first year. And Lane Kiffin brings in this quarterback from Ferris State.
Mm-hmm.
Trinidad Chambliss would have beaten out Arch Manning last year. I mean, everybody thought Austin Simmons had the job, and it wasn't as though he was devoid of talent. The guy had shown flashes. He was athletic. He could throw, smart guy. And Trinidad Chambliss, nobody even knew who he was, but he was just better. And I think he could have gone to Miami last year and beaten out Carson Beck in spring practice.
And Chris Lee, I'm back to this, right? We're sitting here in the summer. There are guys on these rosters we haven't heard of. They're going to make huge impacts. There are guys like that one year Missouri had that back that came out of Division II that took the league by storm. There are guys like that. The sport is just super compelling from that perspective. It just is right now.
Yeah, there's the time horizon. Excuse me just a minute. After we're done. Sorry, taking a son to baseball workouts.
Mm-hmm.
I think, first of all, back to the Arch Manning thing. For just a minute. Everybody was saying the same thing. I kind of said, I don't know that we should be saying the same thing, right? There were questions about the offensive line. There were experience questions. I think people made assumptions. Nobody wanted to be the guy that was like, okay, Arch isn't the guy. We didn't really allow for a window of transition, and everybody had their hot takes ready, aimed, and cocked to go after the Ohio State game. Again, it ended a lot differently. I just think the development curves right now in college sports they're different than we've ever seen, right? Kids develop at certain ages. They peak at certain ages. We still kind of got this is how it works traditionally on. Well, kids get longer time in college now. The workouts are more advanced. The physical development and tools that they can tap into, the analytics are more advanced. I just think the development curves are so much different than what we grew up being used to that it makes it an interesting game. And Trinidad Chambliss certainly was the guy that illustrates that point better than anyone.
Chris Lee on the way out, and I love you. You talked about Auburn in terms of the media had them too low. When you look at that media vote, what else did they miss? And then I want you to give your coordinates out on the way out and how people can find you.
Oh, gosh, it's hard to say what they missed because I just think that the differences between teams are so narrow. I will say this. I think Georgia, to me, if you're picking an order of finish, and I've got an article up right now on Vandy 247. It's free for anybody to read, and it's illustrative of a strength of schedule and some things that, to be honest, I don't like the way we do strength of schedules. We boil it down to one number, and it's a lot more complicated than that. I've tried to nuance it a bit, but I'll just put it this way. Texas, in my mind, Texas and Georgia were the two teams that everybody is picking to win the league. And one team has a much, much tougher schedule than the other. In fact, I think Texas, spoiler alert, I had it as the hardest schedule in the SEC, including non-conference games. And Georgia, I ranked 15th and almost ranked 16th. I think that's a thing that maybe people are missing. It's not just how good you are, it's who you play and where you play them. And there's a massive difference at the top in terms of what Texas and Georgia each drew in their schedules.
Chris Lee, how do folks find you? And I appreciate you, my man.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff at Southeastern 16 on YouTube and on your podcast feed. I've not even been involved with the football part lately. That's going to probably change once the season starts. And of course, you can find it at Vandy 247. And I would encourage people. I've got an article up this morning. Again, it is free. It is breaking down the strength of schedule in the SEC for every team. I've kind of tiered it. I've come up with some quads like we do for NCAA basketball. That wasn't intentional, but it is a way to group teams. And I tell you how I quantified it. It kind of is interesting once you see it spelled out. So I would encourage people to check that out because I think, again, strength of schedule and who you play and where you play them is going to do a lot to shape the standings. And there's certainly some teams that got much easier paths than others.
Thank you, my man. Much love to you, okay?
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And get your son over there to baseball. That's important stuff. Way more important than anything we're talking about, hanging out with your son. As we're with you on a Tuesday, he's a great John Adams. TGMD, you already know about him. Brian Hartman's back from break. He looks extremely well rested, tanned, and ready to roll. My name's Tony Basilio. I'm borderline roached. Jennifer Morris, who's awesome, is with Keller Williams. She's nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hey, Matt, Chris Lee over on our, and I do say on because I'm up here in Pennsylvania, and that's how everybody says on here. I asked a guy yesterday, I said, is that on? And I thought to myself, what in the world? John, do you do that if you go to Louisiana for long periods of time, your Louisiana accent comes back? Does that happen to you?
I never thought I had that strong of an accent, but when I worked in Pittsburgh for a year, they kidded me about my accent. And those Pittsburghers have an incredible accent. So there was some irony there with Orange City beer and the Stillers.
The Stillers, yep.
Yeah, but my wife Melinda notes that she says when I go back to Louisiana and I'm around all my buddies and everything, I talk differently. She gets that Louisiana accent then.
Matt, they're calling the Josh Allen. People misunderstood what he said, but
of course they did.
they're calling it an all-time bad take for this show, and they say that's really saying something. What Chris Lee just gave us. Matt Diskin, your thoughts. What did you hear Chris Lee say?
Or just in terms of kind of body type and size and some of the ability that's how it's favorable to Josh Allen, who, I mean, was just like an above average college quarterback at Wyoming and played in a run heavy scheme. Like his teams didn't do a whole lot there. So, I mean, I know he's a high draft pick with all the talent and he's been incredible in the pros, but it's not like he was a great college quarterback. But it's Vandy. They've got a 5-star quarterback that they've never had before. So they're kind of excited. They don't know that there's a downside to that the guy might not hit. Really, the odds are he probably doesn't hit like they expect. But they have a lot of hope, and we'll see how far it takes them this year.
But Chris didn't. All Chris said was he reminded him of Josh.
Reminds me of
that. Yeah. That's it, and he's talking about body type, and he's watched him throw in practice. Right. You know, I go back. You could make a just looking at him, maybe a Matthew Stafford comparison. I remember Matthew Stafford as a freshman at Georgia. He was maybe further along than Josh Allen, but he didn't play nearly enough as a freshman as he probably should have. But he's one of the more talented guys in the SEC, and look what he's done in the NFL.
JB Hill said wrong, Matt. He said, do you guys actually listen to what you say? Because that's not what he said they're saying, Matt. What do you think of that, Matt?
Well, what did they say he said?
They're saying he's Josh Allen. I mean,
I'm sure.
Here's the thing about doing this all these years, and John, you know this. I've had things I've said on the air, and people go to chat boards and say, this is what Tony just said, and it's not even close to what came out of my mouth. But then it gets attributed to you, and once it gets attributed to you, it sticks to you.
That even happens with the written word.
I know. And how do you screw up the written word? Think about that for a second.
Yeah, but people skim stories. They don't really read them sometimes, and they may look at a headline and not even read a column and thinks that's your take. But I get some incredible bad takes. But again, I guess it was unfair to Chris to even ask him that. But when he said he'd seen him that much in practice, I was just curious. I didn't take what he said as meaning he's another Josh Allen. We may not see another Josh Allen for 20 years.
JB Hill is claiming that he said he is better now than Josh Allen leaving Wyoming. Matt, Brian, or John, did you guys hear that? Because they're really dragging Chris Lee.
I didn't hear that, but I tell you what, as Matt pointed out, I saw a little of Josh Allen in college. He did not look like he was going to be a terrific NFL quarterback. I mean, so athletic. Now, his athleticism came to the forefront.
He was a wild stallion there.
Exactly. And he didn't have – he wasn't surrounded with talent. But that's a great example of a guy. And even if you go back and look at his first year or two in the league, a guy that just kept getting better until now you see him and you think John Elway. He's got that arm and that physique and that ability to break tackles. I've never seen anybody, a quarterback, much better. But yeah, but no, if you go back and look at what he was, and gosh, how many quarterbacks in college did you see that were better than Josh Allen in quarterback? Even as a senior, he was all about potential when he came out, and he was one of those guys who proved that they say, oh, he's a raw talent, and that he really did develop and really blossomed in the NFL.
John F. teaches me something here, and he's right. It's worth when we start talking about Arch Manning, who's not a good thrower of the football right now. He's not. People can pretend like he is. He's just not. He's like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is, I don't know, 6th year in the NFL. He doesn't know where the ball's going when he throws it. I mean, it might go here, it might go there, but Jalen Hurts knows how to win games and does it with his feet and knows what he's doing. But John F. says the following. Yeah, Josh had, if you go back and look at it, at Wyoming, a really low completion percentage. Not the greatest thrower accuracy-wise. And look, guys are allowed to get better. Players are allowed to get better. I'm going to tell you a guy that's gotten better. And it's not a hot take I have today over on the blog, but it's the truth. Nico Amasuna gonna leave you. Look, he's not the first pick in the draft this year like some people thought he was going to be. In fact, he's not even in this draft this year. He's going to play his 4th year in college. Think about that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's his 4th year in college.
But it's his 3rd year of playing.
Yeah, but he was eligible for the draft, in other words.
Yeah, but
the conventional wisdom was, I'm just talking about the build-up to when he got here was, you'll have him for a couple years, and then he's eligible for that draft. If it all would have worked out. Here's my point, though, John, and then we're going to get to hour 2. I think Nico is going to have a great, not a good year, a great year for UCLA. A great year. I think it's going to be very good this year. They have a perfect head coach for him. He will thrive under that guy. If he has it in him, he should have a great year. We'll see what happens. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get to John's hot takes, see if Matt has something. Brian, my name's Tony Basilio. It is a Tuesday with John Adams. I got Matt Dixon in the house, Brian Hartman, yours truly, Tony Basilio. We're off and flying. I want to thank Chris Lee, who appeared on your high noon hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, may I tell you that high noon vodka is made with real fruit juice. It's made with real vodka. And you will live like that sun is always out. Brought to you by your High Noon Spirits Company, 21 and over, to enjoy responsibly. And we might just do an overtime. We might, as we continue with more right after this.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Tony B, inviting you to experience the Collins Insurance difference. And what's that? How about multiple top carriers that you can trust? Like Erie, they underwrite our entire Rainier studio and everything around it. Travelers, Hartford, Hanover, Progressive. We do what's right because we care. In today's technology-driven world, maintaining the human touch, Bruce Springsteen, is one of our main focuses. We deliver the best customer service humanly possible. We give you someone that you can actually call or sit in front of. Imagine that. No call centers here. Experience the Collins Insurance difference. Check them out at collinsinsuranceTN.com, and they're Mrs. B approved. Collins Insurance. TB with a few serious questions. You feeling tired? Foggy? You gaining weight? Or you just don't feel like yourself anymore? Hormone therapy is finally becoming mainstream, but it's truly something my man, Dr. Tom Rogers, has been doing for over 20 years. Dr. Rogers at Performance Medicine wants you to feel your best, and he treats both males and females. So, guys, we can do this as a family. At Performance Medicine, hormone therapy is personalized to you. If you're dealing with hot flashes or mood swings or low energy, decreased libido, fatigue, muscle loss, stubborn weight gain, it might be time to find out what your body really needs. No shame in this game. You can do something about all the above. Performance Medicine offers customized hormone treatment plans based on comprehensive lab testing with options like pellets, creams, patches, oral medications, and injections. The goal is simple. Help you Feel like yourself again. Next level. Make your life better. Take it to the higher plane. Visit performancemedicine.net. Schedule your consultation today. You'll feel your best with Performance Medicine.
Big news, Basilio family. Get ready because the 2026 Knoxville real estate market is officially shifting into high gear. All signs are pointing toward a record-breaking year, and the energy across East Tennessee is absolutely electric right now. Whether you've been dreaming of finding that next home, looking to capitalize on your current equity, or ready to dive into the investment world, the timing has never been better. Having a game plan is the key to winning in this fast-paced market, and I'm ready to help. Give me a call, Jennifer Morris, at 865-694-5904, or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Basilio here with the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. Chad, I can hear it in the background, brother. It's World Cup season, and you guys are in the middle of it. Talk to me.
We are excited. Our U9 through U12 trials just kicked off today for our locations in Knoxville and in Johnson City. So we're ready to offer any player top-level competition, top-level training anywhere they want to be in Northeast Tennessee. In our programs, we offer competitive play for anywhere from 9-year-olds to 19-year-olds. We've got two locations. Our location in Knoxville is kind of our home base, and our location up in Johnson City in the Tri-Cities area is our FC Alliance North. Both locations are growing tremendously, and we're excited about what the future holds here at both locations.
Growing the beautiful game in the season of the World Cup. Chad Stockton, how can folks get more information?
Go to our website, FC Alliance or FCAllianceNorth.org. And both locations, we're happy to serve the beginning player or the more experienced player, because what we will promise is the top-level training and top-level leagues that we can play in for all of our players.
Growing the beautiful game in Knoxville and now also in the Tri-Cities. FC Alliance. Thank you, Chad Stockton.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Nothing makes you realize how much you rely on your air conditioner like a scorching hot day in East Tennessee. You want more than a technician. You want someone you can trust. Schedule Pipe Wrench's $79 AC tune-up now because the heat is here. Our certified technicians inspect, clean, and fine-tune your HVAC system to help it run efficiently and reliably while reducing the risk of breakdowns when you need it most. And while we're there, we can also recommend ways to improve your indoor air quality for cleaner, healthier air throughout your home. For more than 20 years, homeowners across Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and surrounding communities have trusted Pipe Wrench Home Services for dependable comfort. And with our same-day service guarantee, you won't be left waiting when comfort matters most. Schedule your $79 AC tune-up today at pipewrench.com. Same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free. Offer valid on standard systems only. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Basilio here with my buddy, Connexio Kristen.
Hey, Tony. Good to see ya. Connexio builds fleet technology that helps transportation and logistics companies win big. Live GPS, easy ELD and compliance tools, AI dash cameras, and asset tracking, all backed by the .1 U.S. customer support team. Want a better playbook for your operations? Visit Connexio.com/Tony. That's KONEXIAL.com/Tony. Connexio, built for drivers, trusted by fleets, and proud Vol fans.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the week, so there's not much to do in Knoxville, right? Wrong. Get out to Covenant Health Park because your Knoxville Smokies have Taco Tuesday and All-You-Can-Eat Wednesday with all the good food you can eat for less than $20. And that includes game tickets. Sweet. Thursdays, get your drink on with Thirsty Thursday and half-off draft beers. So beginning of the week blues, no more. Get your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com. Knoxville Smokies.
TB back with you. I on this Tuesday, I got to tell you, I don't know what to say about Texas. But my first hot take on Hot Take Tuesday, John Adams in the house, is that I look at the Longhorns this year, and I just think they're kind of overrated. I think their quarterback's really overrated. And I think John's right. I think that guy would have lost his job at Trinidad Chambliss if he would have followed in Archie's footsteps. You know, it's weird. He sat there for 3 years, and he wasn't any good last year. There's kind of no getting around that. People blame the offensive line all they want. Hey, if that's what gets you through the night, that the offensive line wasn't any good, hey, man, have at it. You know, take you a sip. I can't stop anybody, but I'm going to tell you this. Arch Manning's yards per attempt, final 5 games against Vandy, 9.9 yards per attempt, which, by the way, 9 yards per attempt, that's the tops in the nation. That's what happened, about 9.9, something like that. That's 10-ish or so, 10 yards per attempt. That's what the leaders in America did. So that's pretty good. Then they go to against Georgia, 5.5 yards per attempt. He was 27 of 43 in that game, 251. Everybody looked at the numbers. Wow, 251. He's checking down. He's dumping the ball off. Arkansas, who's awful on defense last year, 12.3 yards per attempt, 19 of 31 for 393. He's back. Did you see him? And by that point, people were calling and they were going, did you see him in that game? He could actually throw no kidding. He'd throw the ball downfield. He's Division I quarterback. He complete a pass. I mean, geez, that's the curve we're going to grade this guy on. Then we go to A&M. 5.8 yards per attempt. That's called, we're just going to protect him. And A&M's going to A&M, and we're going to get out of here. 14 of 31 for 179 yards. And then they go to the bowl game that John cites. Everybody said, well, the bowl game, did you see the bowl game? They play a Michigan team with a bunch of opt-outs. 6.5 yards per attempt, 21 of 34 for 221 yards. Point is this. The Manning hype machine, the guy's got like $9 million in endorsement deals. This year, I had a chance to buy some Warby Parkers, and I said, no, I'm not buying them. I'm not doing that. I'm not supporting that. I can't stand up for falling down. No. Not doing it. John, do you enjoy when my voice goes up and down, which I was taught at a young age? Don't be monotone. You have thoughts on that, John?
you do have a tendency to carry things to an extreme. So on that up and down voice, you might be overdoing it a bit, but that's kind of your stick. So roll with it.
Uncle Peyton will be pulling his Art jersey off and we'll be rocking Tennessee colors in the second half of that game. John, what do you think of that hot take?
I think he might run. I think he might rush for 100 yards against Tennessee.
I think that's probably right. He'll probably go right at that end where Coleman was supposed to be, and that's the first game we missed. Having some SEC presence over there. All right, Matt Diskin. Matt Diskin. It's going to surprise you, John, but he vehemently disagrees with the Arch Manning take. Go ahead, Disky.
I don't vehemently disagree. He wasn't good last year. Neither was anybody else on Texas's offense. It was just a really bad offense. I thought they were just really poorly coached. They had no running game. The offensive line was probably bottom third in the league. They couldn't block anybody. And Arch really struggled, especially early. And then kind of found some things. The receivers weren't great besides Ryan and Wingo. They had a lot of drops, couldn't run the ball at all. And Arch just kind of was a first-year starter. Obviously didn't come close to living up to the hype and probably never will. But I thought there was enough there. He threw I actually thought he threw the ball downfield pretty well, so much so that it was almost to a fault that they didn't check down enough because they couldn't block anybody long enough for those developing plays. I thought Quinn Ewers checked down and threw the running backs a whole lot more than Arch Manning did.
I agree with that.
Celtic Drew said, the way Basilio's talking, we better be ready to pump in some watermelon noise on defense.
Yeah, it's a Kate Nealon launch potential there after your takes, Tone.
I'm going to tell you something. Speaking of Cape Nealon, another thing that's the push-up game to me this year for Heupel, which is you better get on the ground and give me 50 like I gave Bino 50 yesterday. People thought I was kidding about that. I gave Bino 50 on the air. Is you lose to Comrade Golish, you better get on the ground and give me 50. Josh Heupel. John, that would not be good.
No.
Not be good.
Adam Sparks, my colleague with Knox News and Knoxville News Sentinel, did a thing on the players Tennessee can't afford to lose, different people Tennessee can't afford to lose to. Right there near the top of the list was Alex Golish because he was Josh Heupel's offensive coordinator in 2022 when Tennessee led the nation in scoring. So if Alex Golish in his first year at Auburn would bring the Tigers in there, picked to finish 12th in the SEC and win that game in Neyland Stadium, it would be a really, really detrimental loss for Josh Heupel.
And Matt, you'll give me this, right? Texas bought some serious offensive weapons. And if Manning's not good this year, it's going to be 1,000% on him.
What does the offensive line look like? Can they run the ball? All that plays into it. Obviously, a quarterback elevates everyone else. And he was nowhere close to good enough to do that last year at Texas, which I think a lot of people thought, even if all those other things were true, maybe he would be good enough to overcome all that, and he just wasn't. If he doesn't make a significant jump and they just get a lot better offensively, then yeah, you can blame him for some of it.
I think Arch Manning is one of these quarterbacks, as was Yamale Ava when he was at Tennessee, and we've seen it at UCLA. He's better when he runs the ball. It kind of gets him into the game. I think it gives him more confidence. I know you can question whether it's ideal to have your quarterback running a lot. It's risky. I think Arch Manning was overrated, obviously, going into last season. But I think you're underrating him now.
John, there are people saying he's the first pick in the NFL draft.
Well, wow. I don't think he's the first pick in NFL draft.
He wouldn't be the first pick in the UFL draft. the way he played last year. I mean, what are we doing?
But we're not talking just about last year. I think with this group of receivers, Texas has added 2 really good running backs. I think Sarkisian, rightfully so, was embarrassed by how bad their running game was. How can you have that bad a running game at Texas with Texas's resources? I don't really know how Texas' offensive line could have been that bad either. But I just think Arch has a whole lot going for him this year. I think Steve Sarkisian, who's a really good offensive coach, though you couldn't necessarily tell it last year, I think he will find a way to get more out of Arch this year. So I think I think he's still overrated if you say he's the number 1 guy in the draft. I don't see that, but I don't think he's going to be a horrible player this year. I think he's a real reason. I think he could very well be a Heisman finalist. I think that's very possible.
Well, of course he's a Manning. I mean, he was probably 5th last year, for crying out loud.
But you're making him sound like he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the SEC. The way
Tony would rather take Nico over Arch.
Yeah, would you take Nico over Arch, Tony?
I'd think about it.
Tony.
Did Texas make the playoffs last year? Because Nico did. Here at Tennessee.
Okay.
They didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I think I agree with you though on Nico that this will be his best season. I think Bob Chesney's offense will fit him well. I don't know if he has enough talent around him though at UCLA, even with
zero offensive line. You're right.
Yeah, I don't think his offensive line it will be that good. But I tell you what, I probably like watching Nico. He's one of those. There are a lot of teams out there that might not be good. They're not national championship contenders, but if they're on TV, I want to watch him. I liked watching Nico. When you look what he did against Penn State last year,
yep,
in Jim Knowles' defense,
yep.
Remember that? I mean, he's just kind of running around making plays. He just
literally didn't have plays to have that.
I know he did.
They were basically doing backyard football out there,
son.
Which in a way is really hard to defend.
Yeah, I like what he was so much fun to watch. That's what I thought Tennessee was going to get a lot of that, and he just didn't do that at Tennessee. I don't think he had the green light to just go make plays. Nico, hand in the ball and say, "Hey, go make some plays." But at UCLA, there was nothing at stake, no risk in it. Another guy I really like watching, and I'm not sure how good he can be, is John Mateer at Oklahoma. I just like watching the guy play. He plays so hard. He tries so hard to make plays. He'll just be running around back there. He breaks tackles. He'll hurtle himself into the end zone. I don't know that he'll be as good as what I thought he would be in college, but I still think he's an entertaining player to watch.
I sit here today and I'm just kind of like, okay, you're right, John. That's one of the things that's great about the game in the kind of the NIL era is you sort of discover these guys and then you see them play in different places. In a weird way, Nico shredding Jim Knowles' defense allowed Jim Knowles to be alive or to be available for the Vols. So if it all works out here in 2027, we can point to the fact that Nico, while he left, had a positive impact on moving Tennessee's program forward. And then also it's a cursory tale for how confused Penn State's defense looked in that game, which is what Knowles does to his teams in year one. And Penn State certainly had better material on their defense last year, just when you look at just material top to bottom players, than Tennessee will have this season. Yeah. That's not a hot take, is it, John? That's the truth.
No, that's the truth. And if you go back, I did a column probably 6 months ago about Jim Knowles' defense wasn't really good against running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Against very mobile quarterbacks. And you look on social media, Penn State fans were ripping Jim Knowles as defense coordinator last year. and obviously after the UCLA game. And I think I don't think James Franklin was worried about losing his job going into the season. Why would he have been? No, he didn't win a championship, but he won a lot of games there. So James Franklin now looks back at that and regrets. I'm sure he regrets hiring Jim Knowles. That said, Jim Knowles has a great track record overall. He's considered an elite defensive strategist. And you did raise a concern about the transition from a new defensive system. It's going to probably be really good and much better in year 2 than it was year 1. We've seen other coordinators come in here. Bob Shoop, I think we've discussed that before.
Oh, boy.
But Bob Shoop had a good reputation, defense coordinator coming in here.
Great.
Yeah. So it was, but the transition was, I won't.
No, Bob Shoop was poop. I mean, for those of you maybe enjoying, a meal at this point in time, I hope you're not having a meatball sandwiches or something. But Bob Shoop, Matt, was poop. And who was the guy, Matt, the offensive coordinator that went to Wake Forest, and he confused his guys. What was that dude's name?
Dave Clawson.
Dave Clawson.
Oh, God.
By the way, this is the third defensive coordinator they've found off Penn State staff in the last decade.
All right, hang on.
Coaches.
All right, hang on. Who was the third? Let's think about this. Shoop. This guy.
Tim Banks.
Oh, no. Woo! As they say in the trade.
Brian throwing heat.
Hey, Matt, that's kind of a crazy. That's kind of a crazy.
It's a very odd stat from 3 different areas. I guess Shoop was with Franklin too, but it's not like Knowles and Franklin had been a long time together. So yeah, that is a weird deal.
So what is that, John? Is that these things come in threes, or is that lightning strikes thrice, or
maybe
two
it's
strikes
just
and you're out, or
maybe it's just an aberration? I've always thought if we're going to talk Jim Knowles, look at that Ohio State defense in 2024.
Yeah.
And you look at I thought he did a nice job with Oklahoma State, which was offensive oriented under Mike Gundy and didn't have the level of talent on defense that it did on offense usually. But I thought it played very good complementary football. But I think there's
Knowles' team, even if half the players are going the wrong way and don't know what they're doing, still an upgrade over what Tennessee put out there last year in the game.
Well, yeah, because last year it wasn't necessary, but it wasn't all about strategy. It was just about execution in that secondary. Even though it had a couple of good, that was odd to me. It had a couple of really good defensive backs with a lot of potential. And Ty Redmond being one of those, playing as a true freshman, just how bad it was. But you could say all levels of the defense were inadequate, but just the tackling aspect of it. That's why I think Tennessee pretty much has to be better on defense. There's just no way around that. Even if it has a difficult time transitioning to Jim Knowles' defense, as Matt's saying, it's still got to be better. It's got to be better than last year. Flashback to something.
I don't think that this transition, I don't think there's going to be as much, learning that needs to be done. He brought a handful of Penn State guys with him, and he's just got done installing this defense last year. It's fresh in his mind what kind of worked, what didn't work, what they were able to install quickly. I think this kind of learning curve that we've talked about, while I do think there is obviously some, I don't think it's going to be nearly as significant as maybe we anticipated when he was first hired.
Remember the transition to a Sal Sinceri defense?
Transitioning around here doesn't work out very well. I know that's a kind of a thing that, well, never mind. Okay. Titans Bill will lead things off on the phone lines. Titans Bill, hit it.
Okay, here's my intake.
You sound far away, Bill.
Your intake? Okay, give me an intake.
Bill, you sound too far away.
I sound too far away.
Now
Now you sound good.
That's better.
Bill, what's on in the background there,
Oh,
buddy?
I was hearing Bill's TV, and I thought it was Titans Bill.
Yeah, I'm watching a pretty good classical movie.
What's that, Titans Bill?
They were expendable. John Wayne, Robert Montgomery, Donna Reed, and Ward Bond.
Brian, can you turn him down to the point of just pain?
Ward Bond, that's a good one.
Word is Bond.
He later starred in Wagon Train back in the late 50s.
Music City Sam said, damn, we were getting into some good football discussion, and now we get this. Yeah, welcome to the show. Bill, what you got? Give me something of interest, or your call's going to be short-lived.
Okay. I'm looking for Cam Ward to have a good year. That's going to be my outtake. And I know there's going to be a lot of people here that don't really, that could care less, but I care.
Well,
there's a difference between the other people and me.
Matt, what do you think of Titans Bill's outtake? And is it an outtake, Matt? Does it get cut from the show later? Is it an outtake?
No, it'll be part of the show.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little bit off topic, but in a way, I mean, he's talking about quarterbacks and a guy, a potential 1-1 guy with Arts, and now you're talking about a guy who was 1-1. So, yeah, it kind of maybe in a way it does fit. It's just, transitioning to pro football.
Hey, John, Rodney Kraft just called John Wayne a drunken coward.
What?
And I just blocked him for 30 minutes. Is that okay that I blocked him?
A drunken?
I know it's a hot take Tuesday, but I don't. He went on some rant, and I had to block him for 30 minutes.
I was since Titans Bill leads the off-topic parade. While I was on vacation, I was talking to a fellow veteran. He was about 50 years old. He told me his dad was in Vietnam in the mid-'60s, right when it was getting cranked up, got malaria and was in a medical tent, and he was going in and out of lucidity, and he hears two people talking outside the tent. And the medical guy says, you can't come in here. We've got sick soldiers and injured soldiers. And the man says, I'm here to see the troops, and I'm coming in. And he came in, and it was John Wayne with Robert Mitchum.
Gaw! Rodney?
Woo!
You hater?
Hey, you don't rip the Duke.
Bill, what's for lunch today, and is roast beef a part of your near future?
Oh my gosh!
Well, I just had a couple of Hot Pockets a few minutes ago, along with some caffeine-free Diet Coke.
Why do
Bill, what's your favorite flavor of Hot Pockets? And John, have you ever had a Hot Pocket?
No, thank you.
I would say pepperoni pizza. It's my favorite.
Is that a Hot Pocket? Is like a hot take?
Cookout Trey Matt 734 says you will never see me pull for Nico ever again. Matt, do you share that vibe, or do you kind of pull for Nico?
Really cheer for him, but I mean, I don't cheer against him either. So, I mean, it'd be all right if he has some success. I just like his dad a lot more than him.
I just like watching Nico play. He's an exciting player.
I'm rooting for the kid because his father is a heavy-handed moron who told everybody to re-effing lax about when we were all reporting the truth. He goes, re-effing lax, like there's nothing to see here. I'm like, dude, we're dealing in the truth, and you're dealing in whatever you're dealing in. And I wasn't dealing in what he was dealing in. I can promise you that.
What?
Re-effing lax. And he said effing. He said the word, Bill. You know what I mean? Kind of like when you talked about Sharon Stone on here, and you said the word, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said the word.
And also Lana Turner's daughter when we had our nice little fireside chat.
Well, that will not make air. And that was this morning. And you know what? When I got off the phone with you and Tony, and I looked at my watch, and I thought, oh, my God, I just lost 40 minutes of my life.
And Bill, that's a good point. You were in our pre-production meeting for 40 minutes. And I got news for you, Bill. That was 40 minutes not well spent, and you're out of here. Stick a fork in him before he says that word on here. Matt, your thoughts on Titans-Bills call? I want a letter grade.
I'll give him a C plus since he did bring up a quarterback, and his only sports topic was a quarterback, having what he's going to do this upcoming season. But
Cam Ward, I like
way
Cam
more
Ward.
out of left field.
Well,
I'll tell you what, guys, I like Cam Ward as an NFL quarterback. I think he's been a nice player. You have a thought on him, John? Cam Ward?
I'm just not sure yet, but I really liked him in college at both of his colleges. I think Matt is a bit too kind because I actually thought that for Titans Bill, the Cam Ward hot take was probably too much in keeping with the theme of the show. And I want Titans Bill to come out of nowhere with something, well, we just heard it, Lana Turner. So I would just give him a C on that call. I think he could have done without Cam Ward and just come in with Lana Turner's daughter, and I would have given him an A.
Well, I'm always going to love Cam Ward because his quote last year about the Titans belongs on a bumper sticker.
What was that?
With their logo, "We Ass." And so it's against that backdrop that we get a timeout. I want you to think about that. I want you to pause for a second. I want you to think about what that means to you. We ass as we continue. John's got a couple hot takes. Matt might have something. I've got a couple. You can go to tclub.team today and see what we're talking about. Also, we dropped a basketball report there, including observable, what we observed, one of our contribs anyway that was there taking notes, at a couple different camps in the summer. And we dropped it for you. There's some knowledge on some basketball recruits, some firsthand stuff seen. And it's kind of interesting. Tobe Awaka's brother's out there too, and he looks just like him. But we'll come back. There's some stuff there on some guys Tennessee's chasing. Who knows how they get there? But we continue with more on a Hot Take Tuesday. And the funny thing about hot takes is the guy with the biggest hot take of them all was a guy that just appeared as a guest from over there at Southeastern 16, but we continue with more after this. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land? Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting. He doesn't always drink beer, but when he does, he definitely prefers Dos Equis. That's right. The most interesting man in the world has returned, and he's more interesting than ever before. His phone is addicted to him. All of his teeth, all are wisdom teeth. So raise a Dos Equis to the man, the myth, the legend. And remember, stay thirsty, my friends. Dos Equis, enjoy responsibly. 2026 Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Like our 2026 football Vols, score a T3 TD every time with T3 Vodka, Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. Right here, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Quality around here isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. And T3's filtered 10 times, 80 proof of vodka, delivering a smoothness unmatched. This dedication to excellence has earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades, like a 5-time gold medal award-winning vodka and your SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner as well. Whether you're sipping it neat, on the rocks, mixing your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka, your choice for a premium award-winning experience. Be like Maury Hanks. Score a T3 TD. Ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, and score a T3 TD all 2026 long. Tennessee's premium vodka, T3, Tennessee's premium vodka, distributed by Empire Distributors of Tennessee.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's national award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Big news, Basilio family. Get ready, because the 2026 Knoxville real estate market is officially shifting into high gear. All signs are pointing toward a record-breaking year, and the energy across East Tennessee is absolutely electric right now. Whether you've been dreaming of finding that next home, looking to capitalize on your current equity, or ready to dive into the investment world, the timing has never been better. Having a game plan is the key to winning in this fast-paced market, and I'm ready to help. Give me a call, Jennifer Morris, at 865-694-5904, or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Basilio here with the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, I can hear it in the background, brother. It's World Cup season, and you guys are in the middle of it. Talk to me.
We are excited. Our U9 through U12 trials just kicked off today for our locations in Knoxville and in Johnson City. So we're ready to offer any player top-level competition, top-level training anywhere they want to be in Northeast Tennessee. In our programs, we offer competitive play for anywhere from 9-year-olds to 19-year-olds. We've got 2 locations. Our location in Knoxville is kind of our home base, and our location up in Johnson City in the Tri-Cities area is our FC Alliance North. Both locations are growing tremendously, and we're excited about what the future holds here at both locations.
Growing the beautiful game in the season of the World Cup. Chad Stockton, how can folks get more information?
Go to our website, FC Alliance or FCAllianceNorth.org. And both locations, we're happy to serve the beginning player or the more experienced player, because what we will promise is the top-level training and top-level leagues that we can play in for all of our players.
Growing the beautiful game in Knoxville and now also in the Tri-Cities. FC Alliance. Thank you, Chad Stockton.
Thanks, buddy.
TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you, not like some some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
The High Noon line of hard seltzers is always a winner and always next level. High Noon vodka seltzers come in 14 flavors with real vodka and real fruit juice. Only 100 calories with no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. Personally, I'm partial black cherry and pineapple. 14 flavors. That's as many bad takes as I've got in a week. In the mood for a kick? Try High Noon vodka iced tea in 6 refreshing flavors, including peach and lemon, green tea, and half and half. Feeling adventurous? Check out High Noon tequila seltzer in 6 refreshing flavors, including my favorite, Blood Orange. High Noon real vodka, real fruit juice. Live like the sun is always out. Brought to you by High Noon Spirits Company. Must be 21 and over to enjoy responsibly.
TB back with you. Yeah, we might be having a High Noon overtime coming up, but who knows? It's a possibility. John Adams is here. He's presented by Jennifer Morris, next move, SmokyMountains.com. I want to thank her. She's with Keller Williams. I thank her. Also want to thank Matt Dixon, who's been great today. Brian Hartman's brought it to the table, producing the show as well. Lovely Laura and Matt in the house. Okay, we're going to get to, we've got John, a story that Brian Hartman wants to share with John here momentarily that Ron Higgins shared with us. By the way, John, Ron Higgins was on with us on Friday. He's selling your LSU boys, selling them.
Is he
hard
really?
selling?
What was
he
his
said?
take?
He said that them being picked 5th, really at the end of the day, is too high for them. He thinks they'll finish 8th in the league. He's hard selling them. I know you're making kind of a face, but before we do that, Brian's got a story. And then if you want to get hunting in the mix with us, 865-200-5402.
John
before we do anything else, before you get to your story, hang on one sec. I want to shout out a guy that's listening to us who just texted me that he's tuned in today, and that's the great Dr. Mike Fidanza, who is a turf grass expert. He's a guy I grew up with here in this town. And Dr. Mike Fidanza, if you look him up, is like the Michael Jordan of turf grass these days. I was with him when the World Cup was going on. There was a guy that literally called this dude and said, "Hey, I'm worried about our field." And he was consulting one of the World Cup sites. And I want to shout out another guy, Dr. Sorokin, in Knoxville at the University of Tennessee. These guys are compadres, okay? And this guy was featured on CBS Sunday, whatever that Sunday show is that they do there, that CBS news program. They did a feature on the turf grass and that whole industry. And those guys are way smarter than I am. But shout out to Dr. Mike Fidanza, my boy. But let's go to the phones. I also want to shout out the great Richard today. Not my brother Richard, but I want to shout out the great Richard over in the Carolinas who's also listening to us. And I want to say to him, you're the king. You're the king. All right, Brian, give John Adams his story.
Yeah, I wanted John to tell the story Ron Higgins told Friday about how he was listening through a wall and had music turned down, and the story that was broken that he broke by just kind of sheer coincidence.
What's the story you broke, John? There was a story you listened through a wall. You did surveillance back in your reporting days.
So Ron Higgins told this story.
He did on you. Yep.
Yeah, well, he wasn't there, but I told Ron about it. I was at the Jackson Clarion Ledger, and it was Mississippi State. Bob Tyler was the head coach. He was trying to make a power play. He wanted more power. He wanted to be athletic director over football. He wasn't getting along with some of the administration. Anyway, so I went up to Starkville for the weekend and just thought, check things out, see if I could find out anything. And I checked into the Ramada Inn there. Bob Tyler, who's the coach, was a part owner. He was an investor in the Ramada Inn there. I checked into my room mid-afternoon on a Saturday, and I heard people talking. I recognized Bob Tyler's voice. So I started listening through the wall, and it was there was piped-in music throughout the hotel. It was a problem, so I went out to the front desk and told them that the music was annoying me. Is there any way they could turn it down? And they did. And so I was able to listen, and I got a story about how they were plotting a power move to make Tyler AD over football. And it was a lead story in the paper, front page of the Sunday paper, the Clarion Ledger, the next day. And that kind of blew up the plot. And the president of the university thanked me later for that story. So.
And you listened through the wall.
Yes.
Are you proud of it?
Yeah.
Did you use a glass?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And it works? Did it?
It helped. Yeah. I was.
That's very interesting.
And I just said it. I mean, I used it as a source. I said, according to a source.
You got a source.
And I had the source. Yeah.
It reminds me, John, of during the groomers days. I had a guy call me. His son was studying to be a doctor at University of Tennessee. And he's now a doctor. And he was in something, I don't know, some program. Pre-med or something. Anyway, the kid put a stethoscope up to the wall at a yeah. And he was listening to some staffers from UT who he lived next to, and they were planning John Gruden's Ascent. And they were talking about how John's been in the complex and watching film. And this guy's like literally telling me this story with a straight face. And I don't know what to say to the guy. Obviously he wasn't doing what you were doing, which is putting it in a paper. Hey, Matt Dixon, I got something for you today. Controversial and highly decorated veteran coach Rush Probst has landed another opportunity as he reunites with former Tennessee head coach Jeremy Pruitt, who he coached with at Hoover High School at Plainview. And then that was reported, about an hour or so ago. And now, about 15 minutes later, it came down that Plainview put a release out. Per Plainview principal Nick Ledbetter, former high school coach Rush Probst will not be joining the coaching staff at Plainview, and saying the reports from other sports news outlets are falsely reported.
So wait a minute. He's supposed to. Where is Jeremy Pruitt now?
Matt? I thought Jeremy Pruitt was in college football.
I
Matt,
thought he was at like Jacksonville State or somewhere.
I thought he was too.
So is he still at high school?
Matt?
Ask you, as he would say.
Matt? What do you say on this?
Yeah, I thought Pruitt was at Jacksonville State. I have to look into this. I mean, it's not happening. Apparently.
Right. In honor of Rush Probst appearing on our feed. Yeah, it's right here. 7/28/26. Rush Probst has landed. This is the story now from Doug Samuels of footballscoop.com. Rush Probst isn't walking away, 68 years old, fresh off winning the 2A state title at Coosa Christian in 2025. I bet that's cute. I bet that school's cute. You imagine, John, at Christian school employing this guy after all he's done?
Well, Christianity.
This Rush Probst fella.
Christianity is all about forgiveness.
Interesting.
And winning still matters.
Yeah, and winning football games, apparently. Anyway, it says at Football Scoop, he's joining the staff of Plainview High School for the 2026 season. The move reunites him with Jeremy Pruitt, who's got his coaching start at defensive assistant under Probst during their run together at Hoover.
Well, I just checked with Dr. AI.
Okay.
And he says Jeremy Pruitt is working as a quality control coach at Jacksonville State.
Yeah, it might be Pruitt's dad's the head coach down there, but apparently, I mean, they already came out and said it's not true, so Pruitt might not be coaching there either, and the story's just completely wrong.
Jeez, that guy needs to listen through some walls to people talking and get some facts.
Okay. Doug Samuel says now he's headed to Plainview, where the Pruitt family runs. Of course, this story's null and void, apparently, but who knows? Now he's headed to Plainview, where the Pruitt family runs the program. Dale Pruitt, Jeremy's father. It would have been so great if Jeremy would have been Dale Jr. Never mind. You had to be there. So Dale Pruitt, Jeremy's father, has logged over 3 decades as the program's head coach. Jeremy's been at the school as teacher and on staff, and adding Probst brings the previous Hoover connection full circle. Hey, this story was written this morning. I don't know what to tell you.
So when was the denial? Was the denial? Did that just come out?
Yeah, they dropped the story this morning, and then within the hour, 45 minutes later, they they denied. We don't have that moron on our team. I love that Probst guy. He's one of my favorite sports characters.
So
of all time.
Love everything about Rush Probst.
Love
everything
him.
Is there anything right in that story?
The Doug Samuel story, I don't think. Well, Jeremy, I believe, is in college. I'm with you guys.
Yeah, well, that's what
it's funny you guys both said that. I was like, and then I was reading it. I was thinking, wait a second here. I love, and I mean love. By the way, Doug Samuels, that name sounds familiar. John, isn't he based out of Alabama? He is. Doug Samuels worked for the Alabama paper, I thought. Is that right, John? You've seen that name before, Doug Samuels. Ask your AI that. See what you come up with.
Okay.
All right, we're going to get Friendly City Gamecock said we need a Garza Law extra cast overtime for Probst's next move, Matt. I do stand with the Probst guy, not against him, Matt. I'm for him, not against him, in honor of my brother Steve. What do you say?
A great character for Southern football.
Yes.
Just perfect blend of it all.
Yes.
Doug Samuels is a
he's got to be based out of
director of content
Alabama.
at Football Scoop.
Okay. And where is he based
Wait a
out
minute.
of?
No, this is maybe it's a different one.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Rapids.
Oh, he's out of Grand Rapids. Okay.
We're going to need tons of clarification for basically everything we've talked about the last 10
Yeah,
minutes.
there's like yeah.
We don't know if Rush Probst is hired or not. We don't know where Jeremy Pruitt is. We don't know which Pruitt's coaching this team. We know nothing.
But we do.
Well, it's like college football season, the upcoming year, man. I'm back to that.
But we do know that I have really good hearing.
No question. And that will never, and I mean ever, be forgotten by this living fan. Okay, so we're going to start our overtime with none other than Jason and Dalton. Blake and Chad are also going to talk. If you want to get in, 865-200-5402 is the numero doce. In honor of the great Mike Fidanza, one of my Goombas. John, do you know what a Goomba is?
Yeah, I guess.
Because Fidanza's a Goomba.
Yeah, you hear it in those mob movies, don't you?
Goomba? No, it's real life.
Oh, okay.
It's not a mob movie. Life isn't a movie. They're Titans Bill.
The mob was pretty real, though. Do you have any contacts in the mob now?
Me?
Yeah.
I had an uncle that would Sicilian hug you. He'd walk up to you, carve their initials in your back with a little X-Acto knife.
Was he with Carmen Basilio? Were they?
No, Carmen's from Conestoga, New York. He's a onion farmer. By the way, another guy that throws some heavy hands from time to time, ladies and gentlemen, the great William Patterson's up next, and that's the playbook.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
It's high
Okay,
noon
so
somewhere, sun's up, and it's time for another high noon overtime. The place where we kick back, pop a top, and really get to the bottom of it. Presented by High Noon Hard Seltzer. Made with real vodka and real fruit juice. Only 100 calories with no sugar added and it's gluten-free. Live like the sun is always out. And now, it's time for High Noon Overtime.
I'll say this right now. The only thing from the Pruitt era, two things stand out to me from the Pruitt era. One, he taught kindergartners how to tie shoes. Two, Fulmer said he was really good at recruiting the day he was getting fired for cheating in recruiting. The Rush Probst thing and Rush Probst's contribution, Matt, you have got to say this. We have got to say this together. You and I have got to admit this. Was that linebacker that played for him that by the time he got here looked like a 45-year-old guy that had just gotten busted on Patrol Live. What was his name, Matt? What was that guy's name?
J.J. Peterson.
Yeah.
The guy that showed up here was not the same one that played linebacker for Rush Probst down there.
One of my sources, Matt, called me and said, I got something to tell you. And I said, what's that? And they said, this J.J. Peterson guy has a big, huge gut. And I said, there is no way. And he said, no. This guy's got like a guy that, would drink, a couple 6-packs on a Friday night. Gut. And you know what, Matt? That was pretty accurate from that time, Matt. And you believe that Rush Probst had a Manchurian J.J. Peterson, do you not?
Oh, 100% I believe that. I really do. I'd love to know the real story. It's a shame that it's never really came out. But, yeah, I 100% believe that he had some 25-year-old that was running around playing high school linebacker for him that was like a former defensive back in college.
But this is a player that came to Tennessee?
Well, the guy that showed up here was not the same guy that played down there. Like it was like a linebacker recruit. He was kind of tall. I mean, not super tall, but he was really skinny and kind of lanky and had like long arms and long legs. The guy that showed up here was short and fat. You'll never convince me it was the same person.
They weren't the same people.
But so when he came here, he was a scholarship player.
Yeah, he was one of the highest ranked signees in that class.
Johnny was 27 years old with a beer gut. I'm not kidding you. The guy that played here.
So you think it was the wrong guy?
Yes.
So where was the real guy?
We think that, I'll let Matt tell you. The working theory right now, Matt.
Oh, I just think the guy kept playing linebacker for Probst down there, just had a different name.
Yeah.
Probst
had a guy in his 20s at linebacker. He looked like, if you've ever seen the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, that's what the dude looked like in high school. He's jumping over everybody. They damaged his car. He was mad at Spicoli. And
yeah.
James Daniel IV says the following. Jeremy Pruitt turned the job down at Jacksonville State He's his dad's defensive coordinator at Plainview still. So it's that was actually an accurate story.
Well,
and Rush Probst completing the circle of life.
But we still don't know if
going
Rush
back to the
Probst,
Lion King.
He's not going there according to the principal.
Can you imagine the blowback they got? You know they tried to sneak him through there. Story breaks.
They should have called him
There's some
J.J.
outrage.
Peterson, giving him a different name.
See, that's great. That's so quick-witted, Matt. This is J.J. Peterson over here. Coach Peterson. You look a lot like Rush Probst.
No, never heard of him.
No.
Hey,
Matt.
So wait a minute, though.
Yeah. Yes.
So here's what I remember about. In February, Jacksonville State hired Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he turned down Maryland.
Later,
that's correct.
He had a job offer in Maryland, but he turned down Maryland out of just sheer integrity, I guess, because he'd already agreed to coach at Jacksonville State. But now we're saying he's not coaching at Jacksonville State. Is that right?
So much for integrity.
So do I have that right? Is that the true story?
Yeah, so much for integrity.
So the coaching staff at Plainview High School, Jeremy Pruitt's on it. Is that right?
Pruitt ended up turning down the job at Jacksonville State, according to James Daniel IV. He's his dad's DC at Plainview still. And then James Daniel IV goes on to report, no, not his son. Somebody said Russ's son played linebacker here tons. Russ's son never played here, did he, Matt?
His
Did we have a
nephew or
Probst on our
somebody
team?
played for
Really?
Dooley. Yeah.
Really? We had a the kid's name wasn't Probst, was it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was John Probst. He was like just a backup linebacker that played some on special teams.
I seem to remember that name now.
I remember Jeff Probst when the lady from Knoxville won Survivor. John, what was her name? The lady that won Survivor? We reached out to her to get her on the air back in the day. She wanted like $5,000. I'm like, no, we'll catch you on the way down. See ya.
Tina Wesson?
Wesson?
Yeah, she was on my picks panel.
John
Right
Probst.
next to Zach
Did you pay her?
Nothing. That was all amateurs, man.
And animals.
All right, let's go to the phones.
Jeremy Pruitt helps guide Plainview to undefeated 2025 regular season. Yeah, how about that?
I love Pruitt.
Sounds like he's working two jobs.
Yeah.
Hey, well that works because
he didn't get the buyout, so yeah, he might have to.
Hey, Matt, he's trying to rehire a coach that had two families at once. So why not two jobs?
And so it goes on to say he got great contributions on his staff from linebackers coach J.J. Peterson in 2025.
Hey, John, can you imagine the juice that Rush Probst had when he had two different families?
I don't even want to think about that.
Two wives, John. Two wives at the same time, John. Could you do it? Two wives at the same time? Two households. Matt, were they in the same community or like 100 miles apart? Or
They
where
were
were
separate
they?
communities. That's how he got away with it until he was dumb enough to do that reality TV show.
Yeah.
And then
how stupid.
He had two families in like separate areas.
That man obviously doesn't have enough anxiety that he
Wait
would
a
have
second.
two
What was
families.
that? What was that show called, guys?
Two-a-days about
And he had
Hoover
two
High School.
families.
Two
And he had
days
two families,
with two
John.
families.
Yeah.
And he's
two
been hired
jobs.
multiple. John, he's been hired multiple times since then, and he's been fired from
wins
every
everywhere
job.
he goes.
Who
He's
was
been,
the,
and he
uh,
wins, but he's been fired from every job for
Who
doing
was,
things
Tennessee?
outside the lines.
Who was Tennessee? I just wrote a column on him a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
Who was Tennessee's Grant Ferking? Was that?
Oh God, that poor guy.
Do you think he could be related to Russ Probst?
No, but he could be an absolute mark for him.
Jeez.
I bet you he loves Rush Probst.
Wait, they already have something on AL.com.
All right.
Rumors of controversial coach Rush Propst's latest job just, quote, internet crap, supposed new boss says. Internet chatter says former Hoover head football coach Russ Propst has another job in Alabama. Plainview High School coaching legend Dale Pruitt says, I guess that's just internet crap. It ain't true. Eloquently put.
Chris Justice reports DGG travels to Buford next week. Last year's national champion of football.
What?
DGG. It's just a reminder from Chris Justice now. Travels to Buford next week. Last year's national champs of high school football.
So why is he going there?
No, he travels there. He's playing a game there.
But when does the season start?
Apparently next week. I don't know.
No, it doesn't start that soon.
No? Matt, does it start that soon? We start playing high school games.
Might be a
pretty
scrimmage
soon,
or something.
I have no clue, but it's a private school and you're playing a team from another state. You probably don't have to start when school does. You can probably play whenever.
But, John, you had a thought about DGG as part of the Hot Take Tuesday. Hit it, and then we'll go to the phones.
Well, yeah, I was just wondering, if you were his financial advisor, would you advise him to play a senior year of high school football? I mean, there's a lot at stake here. He's already has a lucrative NIL deal awaiting him at Tennessee. So he really, if you were his advisor, I'm not saying I would advise him now, but if his advisor would probably tell him, you have nothing to gain by playing this season.
Hey, Matt, I don't think we're too far away from that occurring with the high school kids now that they're making this kind of money. I don't think that's too.
Not at all.
No.
I think you'll start seeing it, or guys just shutting it down with a
Yep.
Mid-season if they get dinged up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's certainly coming.
John brings up a good point. And the other thing I was telling my brother about, just in my play-by-play days of high school football, kids want to go against that five-star guy because they want to put stuff on film now
good point.
of them against the high school guy. And you better watch your knees, man. You better watch your knees when you're out there, because there's also jealousy. That kid's worth whatever he's worth.
Sure. So I guess we could say that J.J. Peterson was the opposite of the guy who would maybe sit out his senior year of high school. Peterson played a lot. He had more than one senior season. Is that what I got out of? Is that right?
I think he probably had 3 or 4 senior seasons at 3 or 4 different high schools. Yeah.
I'm with Matt.
And he played
the guy on film.
Yeah.
So he played for a coach with more than one family, and he had a number of aliases.
Yeah, Matt, we had a pipeline to God to answer this question. Okay, how many illegal players during his illustrious career do you think Rush Probst used? What would be the betting number that you would have to start with to start incurring action on that?
Between people like Peterson and like kids that live out of district and all that stuff, I'd say it probably averaged 5 to 7 a season. So however many seasons he coached,
easy.
I'd do that times about 5.
So 30 seasons times 5 is probably 150 illegal kids. You know how many secrets Rush Probst knows? And when he had 2 families, you think there's a chance he had like a 3rd girlfriend on the side? I love Rush Probst.
100%.
I'm for. I stand for Rush Probst. Let's go to the phones. Let's get Jason and Dalton in here. Jason and Dalton, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. How's it going?
Hey, my friend. Welcome in.
All right. The Baylor thing in Buford is a preseason scrimmage in a week or two, and DGG needs to play about 2 series and sit on the sidelines the rest of the game.
So that's real. So they are scrimmaging each other. That's already happening.
It's a scrimmage. He'll be the best player on the field, but then Baylor will have the next 20 best, or Buford will have the next 20 best players. So
tell me about that Buford bunch. Tell me about, is that like a machine, or tell me about it?
It's a machine. It's basically Gwinnett County All-Star team, and Gwinnett County being the most populous county in the state of Georgia, maybe the second most populous. Yeah, they pull from all the other schools that kids want to go to Buford. You know, they're the cream of the crop. They're a top 3, top 5 program in the nation. So wow. And they've got that big, gigantic $50 million stadium that they just built that was on ESPN last year. Yeah, public high school in the South for football as good as it gets. But yeah, that's that. It's a scrimmage. I'm still basking in the glow of the after DGG commitment. I remember talking to you about him about a year ago, and I was like, we got to get this guy. The only other player that I've seen better on the field, and you know, I officiate high school football in Georgia. The only player that was more physically impressive that I've ever seen was that Eric Gilbert guy. His name was spelled weird, like A-R-I-K.
Eric Gilbert, who went to LSU.
Tight end. He went to Georgia, LSU. Somebody else.
He was a physical freak, but he was kind of a moron, and he wound up going to prison or something. So,
oh, that's a shame.
He robbed 3 different vape shops, maybe the same one twice.
Yes, that's what he did. Somewhere out west, he went and he
went to Nebraska. Was the last college stop he was at.
Wow.
He tried to break into a tobacco or liquor store or something, and the cops caught him in process of trying to break into it at night.
That's a shame.
Well,
so yeah, he's gone.
I'm sure he'll turn it around later in life.
Yeah, probably so. He'll play for that fake school that ESPN fell for when they put him up against IMG Academy. Remember that a few years ago?
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah, it was some fake Catholic school thing. The only other thing I was going to say, I was going to touch base. I had time today. Was you were talking about Jeremy Pruitt. It's very interesting. Jeremy Pruitt's dad had coached in Alabama, you know, forever, I don't know, Rainsville or something. Mm-hmm. He came over to Dade County, Georgia high school for only maybe 2 or 3 years. And I know a lot of coaches leave Alabama and Tennessee after a period of time, and they'll try to get a job in Georgia because Georgia high school jobs pay a lot more, and they'll try to beef up that retirement or do something with that. And that's what he was doing, but he left there after only 2 or 3 years at Dade County because that is an area where, let's just say, athletes don't exist. And he couldn't really do anything there. So I just heard y'all talking. I did not know he was back in Alabama, Pruitt's dad.
That's pretty interesting. Did you ever deal with him when he was there?
I had a game with him. He was fine. He was kind of the elder statesman. He didn't do. I mean, he leaned on his coaches to yell at me and our group, and he was the elder statesman on the sidelines. Is kind of the way I would describe him.
You know, it's Brian. Why did I say Diddy? Explain to our caller why I called him as Diddy.
Diddy is what Jeremy Pruitt described his daddy. He called him Diddy.
Oh, it's that weird North Alabama accent thing.
Diddy, yeah, like a ditty about Jack and little
so
Diddy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying he meant to be? He was actually trying to say Daddy, but it sounded like
calls
Diddy.
him Diddy. Yeah, and we overheard Pruitt talking to his father on the phone, and he had the speaker out, and his father was reading him the riot act about the way his team played that night, and he was going, "Yeah, Daddy. Okay, Diddy. Yes, Diddy. Okay, Diddy."
Mm-hmm.
And his Diddy was really giving it to him over the way the Vols played.
Yeah. I've heard country people in North Alabama and North Georgia talk like that. So, yeah.
Wow. I missed that. Gosh, there were so many layers to Jeremy Pruitt.
Well, guys, I just wanted to chime in and, I want Matt to completely drink from the DGG chalice that everybody else is drinking from. If everything goes the way it should go, he'll be the best back we've seen here in a generation. So.
That's a man right there, Matt, that's officiated the man, been on the field with him, been on the same field with him. Come on, Matt. I want you to amp it up here now, Matt.
I've officiated
I'll be
Trevor
excited
Lawrence
when he
in
gets
high
here.
school.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's got a
I
chance to be
officiated
the best
Justin
since Jamal
Fields in
Lewis.
high
Absolutely.
school.
I think that's a fair take.
Yeah. I mean, what, a generation ago is what, Jamal Lewis maybe? So.
Yes.
Yeah.
30 years.
He's good as it gets. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Good talking to you. Hey, Commissioner Bockwinkel says, now we've got a new term, Bry, some war ditties. That is so stupid.
Did he pronounce it war ditty?
War ditties.
How about who's your ditty?
Little ditty.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Oh
man.
man.
Oh,
so
my
you know what
gosh.
would be cool if you could give a next week give a pop quiz on this show. If people could say, okay, who was J.J. Peterson? Where does
goes.
Russ Probst's coach?
Listen to Brian. Brian's field goes.
What? Say it again, Brian.
Not a field goal, but a field goes. Like a field go. Like a field go.
John, the Pruitt era, I'll never forget that Georgia State game where he looked like just an overly medicated Gump with that turban on the top of his head. That's the dumbest looking thing. That was the dumbest. That had to be the most inane day in the history of Tennessee athletics. In a 125 years at sometimes sheer inanity. Matt, you have to admit that's one of the most bizarre things we've ever seen in a sea of bizarre. He was so medicated that day. He took like a triple dose of whatever he took.
Correct. And I think that was his kind of oh shit moment. Like, we didn't prepare for this game because we've just totally overlooked them and we're not anywhere near good enough to do that.
Yeah, you know what would have been great if you imagine having Jeremy Pruitt and Butch Jones on the sideline at the same time. Imagine how those guys would interact.
Who's that now?
Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt. Completely different
gosh.
personalities, but both kind of odd personalities.
Can you imagine when they run into each other and they're comparing notes about their time here?
Yeah, I mean,
I blame those individuals.
What do you think, Jeremy? What do you think?
Individuals kick field goals for me.
What do you think Jeremy Pruitt thought about Butch Jones, a guy who played in the band in high school? What did he play? Was he a tuba player?
You were a tuba player in high school.
Yeah. What do you think Jeremy Pruitt would have thought about?
You were a tuba player in high school. That's so stupid.
I remember all the things like vampires and all that kind of stuff. I've got war ditties for you.
Could you imagine, John, when Pruitt would walk up to him, or that goofy Butch Jones would talk about energy vampires to you imagine Pruitt trying to comprehend that? Just looking at him like, what?
Yeah, I can kind of
That's a great reality. That'd be a great reality show. Take all the former Vols, put Pruitt in there too, and put him in like a house. Give the winner like $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah, you could. You could take put Derek Dooley, Jeremy.
Haven't given him enough millions already.
Well, look, how about this?
Give him Fulmer's money. Win Fulmer's money, we can call it.
Okay, well, let's do this. We take Philip Fulmer, Lane Kiffin, Butch Derek Dooley, Butch Jones, Jeremy Pruitt, and let them live together for a year. Talk football.
That would be freaking incredible. That would get great numbers.
Oh, my gosh. It'd be unbelievable. And how about the show could be they're analyzing, they're watching a game and their take on the game.
I would love that. Let's go to the phones at 865-200-5402, and we'll get our next call in. Where am I
Blake
here?
in Chattanooga.
Blake in Chattanooga, you're on the air. Welcome in.
How you doing, Tony?
Hey, Blake, welcome in.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk with you after the DGG commitment. I did get to tune in for the first few minutes of the show you did after the commitment, just to see your reaction. I was just getting to the beach. But I'm excited, man.
How hyped were you that night when we stayed on for 100 minutes? I was so hyped, man.
I was pretty hyped. I was just pulling into my fiance's mom's house there, and they were all trying to talk to me, and I was looking at my phone. They're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Making sure we get this running back," and they just started laughing. I was like, and we were watching it, and they were like, "Is he supposed to be really good?" And I was like, "Yeah." Showed them some highlights. They're like, "Oh man, he looks like he's really going to be good." And then started talking about it, and then talked to him a little bit about how serious it was that we really needed to get this guy. And so I was pretty ecstatic about it. It's going to make this season a whole lot easier, no matter what happens. You know, say it's a down year, it'll make it easier knowing, hey, we might be in good shape next year.
Yeah, you know, again, I'm just not sold that this year is a down year with as influx as the league is. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of possibilities because, I mean, say Faison goes out there and he's the truth, you know, which could happen. Because we're a quarterback away from this year's team being able to actually compete and do some good things. So if he goes out there and shows he can really play, we could have something this year, no doubt.
I'm excited. Matt, I'm very, very, very excited to see this freshman quarterback play, aren't you? Very excited. But I say that I'm not 100% sold Heupel's going to let it happen in the first game, though. I'm still not 100% sold on that because that's just how head coaches think. John, are you 100% sold that the true freshman starts first game of the year?
I wouldn't say 100%, but I just think it's everything you hear and just the eye test. You would think that Faison would be the starter. It doesn't. Here's one thing: if you look at the you say, okay, let's see how they do in a game. And does it really matter who starts against Furman? Of course not. But if they each got equal playing time, and there's a chance both could look terrific against Furman. Because Georgia Tech is essentially your opening game. And it's even possible that Tennessee could beat Georgia Tech without great quarterback play. I think Georgia Tech will be a tough game, but I still think you could win that game. So you basically have 3 games before you play Texas. And then you got to be sure by then who your best quarterback is.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. Matt, are you in your brain? Is that freshman your starting quarterback in your brain, Matt?
Yeah. I think he's the favorite entering fall camp for sure.
Oh, he's a favorite, but I'm in the 90s.
I don't think we can have a choice.
I think you're right. The other guy was so bad in the spring that if he's anywhere near that, and then the comments from our head coach regarding, hey, this kid's the first in, and he's the first one there in the morning, and he's the last to leave at night. That's setting the stage, whether he's doing it in terms of omission, commission, that's setting the stage for justifying starting him. He's that kind of leader.
Well,
anything else for us in beautiful Chattanooga?
Yeah, I do have my DGG source. He also coached with me at Red Bank, and we got a guy that's playing in Tennessee, and he told us that Faison's looking really good. He's out there spinning it, so I'm pretty excited to watch and see his progression through the year. I just want to see him have a good year and progress and get better, which sounds like he's already doing.
Did he say how?
Already, that's for sure.
Excuse me, but did he say how George McIntyre was looking?
I didn't really ask. I didn't want to put him in any rough positions, just because I know what the spring looked like, and he told me he told us, he was like, "Hey, Faison's looking really good," and I just let him keep it at that.
Well, I appreciate your call. Always great hearing from you.
Absolutely. And I'm with Titans.
Yes,
Bill.
sir.
Go Cam Ward.
Thank you, my man. Good talking to you. I like Cam Ward a lot. Be a very good quarterback in that league.
So, Titans Bill is getting some response from his hot take or outtake, if you will.
Outtake.
Tony, what was the high point of our pre-show conversation with Titans Bill that went on way too long?
Probably when Bill evoked the name of those two former TCU, I guess one coach at TCU. One was named Sonny, the other one was named Spike. Let's go back to the phones, and we'll get our next call in. Joshy boy, welcome in.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you doing today?
Hey, Joshy boy.
Good. First thing I want to talk about, guys, I know in the past people crap on week 0 in college football, but I think this season we got a pretty good slate in week 0, starting with the first game of the day, North Carolina versus TCU, Jacksonville State versus North Dakota State. North Dakota State coming in FBS.
Where do I sign up? Where do I sign up for
State versus
games?
Virginia.
Ah.
Memphis versus UNLV late at night at 10.
I'll tell you what, Josh. It's pretty aptly named as a week 0 because that's a total 0. Only sport in the world.
Tony? I think it's going to be a pretty good game.
Only sport in the world, Josh, that lets you sit there all year and wait for their opening season. In the NFL, they match the two teams that played in the Super Bowl. That's the next time you see their product. In college football, give me those games again. What were they again?
North Carolina and TCU.
Brutal.
NC State and Virginia.
Brutal.
Jacksonville State and North Dakota State.
Horrendous.
Memphis and UNLV and Hawaii and Stanford.
Literally unwatchable and beyond bad. Hawaii and Stanford.
You left out.
I actually count week 0 unlike that brain donor Josh Pate, who doesn't include week 0.
Well,
on his countdown.
College football doesn't care about week 0. John, you were going to say, go ahead.
What
John
still
Adams.
counts it as a win or loss, Tony?
Oh, no question.
You left out the Sacramento State Eastern Michigan game.
Yeah,
that's Sacramento
There's some real
State.
Degenerates out there excited about that game.
That's the one. Yeah.
Sacramento State is is in the MAC now.
Yep.
And I love bad MAC football, so I will probably watch that game.
In the MAC, Sac State. Oh, that's right. Were they in the MAC last year?
I don't think so.
Oh, they
Sac
were
in the
FCS.
MAC.
They're the SAC. They're in the SAC conference.
They are coming from the FCS.
The SAC.
They had their own conference. Sac State did.
They were in the Big Sky Conference in the FCS.
But now they're going to be in MAC, and they're Eastern Michigan and Sacramento State. They're down toward the bottom of the league. So I think bad MAC football games on a Tuesday or Wednesday night are pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I agree with you, John.
They replaced Northern Illinois, who's now in Mountain West.
John, I just don't get week 0. If we're going to have week 0, bring back the Pigskin Classic, the Kickoff Classic. That's what they ought to be doing. They ought to match teams that people want to watch and build it up through the summer.
Well, what they're going to do starting next year, they're going to have an earlier starting week 0.
Yep.
A lot of teams it won't be a week 0.
Yep.
Tony, so you really came in here and crapped on my parade. That I'm really excited. We're 32 days away from week 0. We get to actually watch some college football.
I tell you what, I'll watch that NC State Virginia game.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
NC State, CJ Bailey's one of the
I
higher
love
ranked quarterbacks, and then Virginia. I just am curious as what Bo Prabula will do at quarterback, because I think Tennessee could have signed him.
Yeah. So that LSU Clemson game, guys, do you think the loser of that game, Tony, do you really think whoever loses that game could be in real trouble?
Which game was that again? I'm sorry, I zoned out. There. I was watching John Adams.
LSU
I think the winner could still be in trouble.
They could,
The winner could be in trouble.
That's what I was getting ready to say. We just don't know how. I don't know what to think about Clemson.
Yeah, John, do you think if they go like 8-4 or 7-5 again this season, you think Dabo is going to have a lot of pressure on him of maybe like on the hot seat?
Well, I guess in some core, you got to remember what Clemson football was before he got there. I mean, there's been nothing like that at Clemson other than the Dabo Swinney era. I mean, he went to head with Alabama's dynasty and won 2 national titles. Is he coaching at that level? He's got a program of that level now? No, but the program is still, if you go back pre-Dabo, what the program was like to what it is now under Dabo, it's still better now, I think.
Chad Morris is back.
Yeah,
as our offensive coordinator, which, I mean, hey, maybe he breathes life. He was there, John, on the front end of that thing. Maybe he breathes life back into it.
Yeah, he was considered a really good offensive guy, and he is considered that, and a sharp guy, but things just didn't work out for him as a head coach. That was a disastrous hire for Arkansas.
And then South Carolina, their counterpart has Kendall Briles as their OC. And Matt, Kendall Briles manages to have go-home heat with me every time I see him. I mean, he's got these hands painted up and his fingertips. And, I mean, this guy's annoying now, Matt. I don't know if you're a big Kendall Briles guy, but, God, he's annoying.
No, I'm not. I'm not a huge fan.
I really liked Art Briles.
Oh, yeah, he's another one.
Yeah. Tony, who from the SEC this season are you selling?
I'm selling everybody at the top, except for Georgia and Texas. The next 3 teams I'm selling. Get them all out of here.
What about that Oklahoma bunch? Do you think they could be a dark horse in the SEC this year with that elite defense they return?
Yes, I do.
Guys, one last question out the door. How do you guys think Dion is going to do at Colorado this year? How is Nine Toes going to do? See ya.
What's a 9 toes, John? Any idea what that's a reference to?
Didn't he lose one of his toes?
Oh, that's terrible.
It was pretty bad.
My gosh, making fun of that?
He had severe blood clot issues. That would probably.
I mean, that's a life.
Yes.
That is what do they call that?
Gosh,
life.
boy, better than that. Come on.
That's life-threatening stuff, right? What Dion's going through? Yes.
Yeah, he's doing better now, but he was in dire straits. He's been through a lot.
Wow.
I don't think we need to be calling him that.
No.
That's I guess you've had worse said on here.
Well, back in the day, Joe, the late great ZR referred to Joe Johnson as 11 fingers on here in the middle of a song, Give Sheep a Chance, which is an adaptation of Give Peace a Chance. And he, in the middle of his screed, he goes, everybody's talking about small guy, tall guy, da-da-da, da-da-da. And he goes, 11 fingers. And then they were recording it. Somebody said, Z, why did you say 11 fingers? And he goes, Joe Johnson. And they said, Z, he's got 9. He's got like a stub. He like cut it off as a kid or whatever. And he goes, oh, I thought he had 1 extra. I mean,
like I said, you've probably heard worse. Yes.
No. Matt, do you have any thoughts on the way out? You've been incredible.
No, kind of a fun show. Had some good topics, some decent football discussion, I thought. So it's that time of year. So
yep,
whether it's week 0 or week 1, season's slowly creeping up.
I thought that Plainview High School breaking news was pretty much as good as it gets.
It's unbelievable. John,
we still have zero clue what's the real story. We have no clue who's coaching where.
John, you think there's a chance they hired him and then backed off when the story came out? The guy keeps getting jobs and he keeps getting in trouble everywhere he goes. It's not like he's like turned his life around, one of those. I mean, he just keeps getting jobs, as Matt said. Why, Matt? Why does he keep getting high school jobs, Matt? It's my favorite
because he
thing
keeps winning.
Yeah, absolutely. You get him, you're winning games, man. And I like him because he looks like Lex Luger back in the day.
What?
He looks like the wrestler Lex Luger back in the day.
I just that J.J. Peterson thing. I just never really. I missed that kind of. That's very interesting. I'd like to know more about that.
You ought to ask Blake about it. Blake was a. You ought to bring it up on your podcast. Hey, I question for you. Do you remember J.J. Peterson? They think he was a Manchurian linebacker. Seriously, I think the guy that came here is not the same guy that was on film. I got called. They said he showed up in a pair of those gray sweatpants you buy at Walmart, if you could picture that, and he had a beer gut.
And so you think...
Seriously, gray sweatpants and a beer gut. The first time they saw him, he had gray sweatpants on and a beer gut. Looked like he was, no offense to my friends at Hardee's, but he was like he was walking out of a Hardee's after eating like a triple with a large fry and two trips to the Coke machine.
So you really think Matt really believes that the real J.J. Peterson just kept playing there, kept playing high school ball.
4 rush probes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he was probably some like a defensive back that played at maybe like South Alabama or Troy that maybe fizzled out in college, maybe had a knee injury. But they were in their mid to late 20s playing high school football.
Can you imagine?
J.J. Peterson.
Can you imagine how decent a guy with decent high school athleticism at 27 years of age could have performed in high school? I mean, that he'd have probably been a star.
I mean, John, do you like how much it means the high school football and just being in the South? And you cannot, where I'm at right now, you could never explain that to somebody. Like there's no way, like the Rush Probsts of the world, those guys are always going to exist. They just are.
Well, you see, I wonder, maybe Texas, because I was in South Texas for a few years, beginning of my career. So I got to cover Texas high school football in this region. I would cover the best game in the region, South Texas. And you could imagine something like a story like that. I mean, if those guys, I mean, those high school coaches were at the best schools with the best programs. They were rock stars.
Greatest thing ever, man.
I mean, there was a guy named, what was his name? Buzzy Gilbreth. So
And that's the other thing. The names of those people is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they're highly paid too. That's the other thing.
Well,
John.
this guy, the Booster Club,
Mhm.
I know they bought him a car. I think they might have bought him a house. You know, like ministers have a house. I think the high school coach in Cuero, Texas, probably had a house.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what to make of any of this.
So, but what I'm wondering now that I'm hearing this story from Matt,
Yes.
those Texas schools, as much as high school football matters, is it? I mean, it's not out of the question that they could have gotten a guy just started a guy's clock over, and he's playing at 25 years of age in high school.
The Probst guy had two families, Sean.
Yeah.
While he was doing a nationally televised
show
on MTV that was getting really good ratings. You don't think he would sneak a 25-year-old onto the field to elicit some punishment? And the Vols, the guy that showed up for the Vols the first time they saw him, I am not making this up, had a gray sweatpants on and a beer gut. And the gray sweatpants look like the ones that come off the rack. When I got some of those at Walmart on Clinton Highway, and I got home, and Laura said, "What are those?" And I said, "My sweatpants." And she goes, "No, they're not." She said, "No, actually, they're not your sweatpants." And she processed them. She processes bad clothes I buy.
Well, if you just think if this show had unlimited resources.
Yes.
And we could hire people to go out and really do this story right. I mean, do a documentary on J.J. Peterson.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, searching for J.J. Peterson.
Well, Adam Sparks would have got the real story if he was covering the team at the time.
Yeah,
well,
he sure would have.
Well,
Blake was too busy being a pretty boy.
How about this though? What if you had a giveaway? If you could give your listeners, if you could have your listeners go out and try and track down a story, just be a
suss it out.
Yeah, be a sort of a civilian journalist and go out there and track it down and just have it as a contest is who can come closest to giving us the true J.J. Peterson story.
Here's the problem, John.
Yeah.
The guy that played at Tennessee played under a false name with false Social Security number. I'm not sure he's findable. He's like a weapon with a filed down. They filed off his serial number. I mean, I agree with Matt, because when they called me and said, "Wait till you see this guy that they say is J.J. Peterson," Matt, there is no way that's the same guy we saw on film. I do know that, Matt. I'm not into conspiracies.
Yeah, that guy would. Yeah, that guy that flew around on those highlights, because it was like the highest classification in Georgia football.
Yes.
So like a state title team. Like, I mean, he was a top 100 recruit.
Flying around.
And the guy that showed up here, there is no way that it was the same player. No way.
He was in his late 20s with a beer gut.
So he's, I mean, this is almost like he entered after that. You think he's like entered witness protection? I mean, what happened to the real J.J. Peterson?
Boy, I don't know. I do not know, man. I do not know. But anyway, John, you were fun today. Matt, you were fun today. The great Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. She of Keller Williams was fun today. my friends at, and I want to shout them out here at High Noon. It's high noon somewhere and the sun's up. I want to thank them for the overtime segment today, for presenting what we do here. Always a winner, always next level. 14 flavors made with real vodka, real fruit juice, 100 calories, no sugar added. A great choice in the summer, a great choice for your tailgating needs. Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, High Noon. They've got you covered. And also check out the High Noon iced tea, 6 refreshing flavors. And also the High Noon tequila seltzer in 6 refreshing flavors as well. 21 and over to enjoy responsibly. High Noon Spirits Company. You guys have left me in high spirits. Thank you to Brian Hartman. Thank you to John Adams. Thank you to Matt Diskin. Thank you to our special guest who joined us earlier today from Southeastern 16. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you to Jared Curtis at Vanderbilt for providing some already a rival. We love you. We thank you. Peace.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
I guess if I had